You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids. Welcome to episode number 35 of the Not Quite Daily Beaver Morning Show. For those moments when you still want your beaver grizzly goodness to get your day started and year ended with a bit of sparkle and joy. Today, recording day is Friday, December 30th, 2022. And for our last show this year, or is it? I don't know. Maybe we'll do something. We don't know. We haven't talked about it. It's going to be an unseasonably warm, up to 7 degrees Celsius, and wet day here at the Beaver Lodge. It may, in fact, even be so warm that almost all the snow we accumulated in the city during the recent 48 hours of blizzard may be melted. I actually saw green patches on my grass yesterday because it hit 6. It's really crazy. Just like we have some peonies and we put some like compost and then leaves on top of it. And then we waited for there to be some snow to put some snow on top of the leaves to hold them down so the wind wouldn't break them. And yesterday I saw the leaves again.
Yeah, that's truly
after all the snow we got. So yeah, it's melting pretty quickly here. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver Ray, and I am thrilled beyond belief to be closing out the year with you, my dearest kits. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, The Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. And good morning, Kit Christine. Oh, there's a new name. I haven't seen that name on our chat before. And good morning. Oh, yes, Lazy Sunday with Wade and Doe. A great podcast that you should be listening to, kids. Love you. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, Kit Tim. Good morning, Kit Shelley. Good morning, Kit Linda. And Tim says that it's going to be 10 degrees Celsius in Cornwall today. And Kit Linda says that snow is gone where she is. I believe that's the Sarnia area, if I'm not mistaken. So, wow. Lots going on. If there's a little bit of gruff in my voice that you detect, kids, you have good ears. That's because yesterday our podcast's fine friend and I were celebrating. But before we talk about that, let's say hello to this fine friend. Good morning, Mr. Grizzly. How are you today? And how is your mental health?
Good morning, Mr. Beaver. I'm a little tired. Although I went to bed quite early last night. I don't know. I didn't sleep well. I think I couldn't wake up this morning. I'm still a little groggy, so I might need a few Mr. Coffees in my mug this morning. So good morning, Shelley. How you doing? Linda, everybody. My mental health is actually pretty solid today.
Yes.
Pretty solid today. I'm just not fully awake. That's my only issue. So, and this weird weather is, I think, throwing us all for a bit of a loop. Like I was hoping to get skiing this weekend, but honestly, I don't think that's going to be possible because.
Yeah, I know.
So for Christmas, my folks gave me a season ski pass.
Oh, nice.
And I was like eager to go. I thought, okay, I'll get in before Christmas. And then, things were weird. And then weather-wise, right? And then I looked at the conditions where I had my pass, and it's like, oh yeah, they have 4 runs open. They're all the bunny hills, so I have no interest in that. I
Yeah,
mean,
I wonder what.
I'm not skiing double black diamonds all day long, but if there's no blues even open, I it's no fun for me.
Yeah, I wonder what's gonna happen to us too, because we made plans as well to go to Blue Mountain,
That's
and,
right, yeah.
that's further south than we are, so not sure if there's
Is
gonna be
Blue
much
Mountain further south, or is it's pretty
from where we are
yeah, from
in
Kings yeah.
Kingston, I
I know
believe.
it's further south than where I am, but,
Well, isn't oh, maybe I'm mistaken. Isn't that 2 hours away from Toronto, but further
north.
away from?
It's north of
Oh,
Toronto.
it's in between here.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's on, Georgian Bay. It's near Wasaga Beach.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Well,
Um,
close-ish, right? It's in
okay.
that area.
So, yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work out, but, we'll see. We have more people joining us. Good morning, Kitty Lane. And, yes, there's some people on the chat today that we met yesterday. Like, "Hello, Nona. Good morning." Good morning, Kit Mike. Wow, lots of new names today. Because, yesterday, 2 very, very kind kits, right? Kit Lee
Mhm.
and Kit Danielle, were very, very kind and invited us to an early New Year's Eve party, and we attended. And you were responsible and left at a responsible hour to be able to get up. Uh, Me being a party beaver, I stayed up till the bitter end, so it's been a very short night. But let's keep the party going. There we go. It
Alrighty.
don't really work so well over the cans. There you go.
Yeah,
It'll probably fall off. Good
no
morning, Kid
doubt.
Dharma. In the news today, I mean, there's several things that happened, but the news that everybody is talking about.
Greta Thunberg kicking ass and taking names.
Okay, because
Just
I knew you
crushing it.
just
Crushing it.
crushing it. Okay, so on our last show, I remember we posted about that sort of
Tweet, yeah.
roundhouse kick right to the jugular of I'm going to call him Andrew Taint.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Mhm.
good, I like that. Andrew Taint.
Because he
Yeah.
tain't gonna be riding those cars anymore
Nope.
for a while, um, yeah, and, you remember when we said, she basically, said that he had small dick energy, and of course, being
Mhm.
this, self-declared alpha male, actually more like an alpha bits male, and every time he puts his, like, spoon in the bowl, he pulls out "loser." But
Pretty
anyway,
much.
yeah. So, he's bragging about all his cars and whatnot, and I mean, this guy is like a noted misogynist. Apparently, he was banned off Twitter, and Mr. Muskrat Love brought him back. And not only did he manage to get himself banned, but he managed to get himself arrested because when Greta said that he had small dick energy, well, first he said, "How dare you?" And
Yes.
then, of course, well, he couldn't just let that sit, right? Because you know he's a man. Man's got to have the last word,
That
especially with
alpha
a woman.
male thing,
Especially with a woman.
can't let
Can't
well,
let him.
she's 19, so she's still a girl technically.
Yeah. Now you get this other fighter, this Jake Shields guy, who like posted this really disgusting. Maybe uh, Andrew and Greta should just get together and bleep already.
Yeah,
Um, Dude, you have issues,
you think?
big ones, big ones. Get some help, okay? But then Andrew felt the need, I guess, to do a little clapback video, Mr. Grizzly. Now, I am not going to play the sound on this video, uh, but if you'll put up the visual, good
Sure,
sir.
sure. There it
Okay.
is.
First of all, this is this guy's idea of a clapback. Thank you for converting. Well, how about you go, Mr. Grizzly?
Thank you for confirming via your email address that you have a small penis, Greta Thunberg. the world was curious, and I do agree you should get a life. That he,
with a heart. Okay.
yeah,
Now, number one, how's that a clapback? Two,
it's not.
dude, for an alpha male, have you ever seen a woman naked?
Clearly, he hasn't.
Just asking. Okay. Um, and dude, if you think that this is a clapback, all you've done is just scream to the world that Greta's small penis is still bigger than yours.
Well, and all of his cars are rentals. He doesn't own
Yes.
anything.
And every house that apparently is all Airbnb type stuff, right?
Yeah.
So here you got the Marquis. I've dubbed him the Marquis of Micropene in his wonderful robes. Okay. And now just puffing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Overcompensating.
A little bit.
He's enjoying that a little way too much. And
Oral
kids,
fixation, you think?
and kids, speaking as someone who has an oral fixation, just saying. Okay. The team for which I bat, he's enjoying that a lot. Okay. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So he does this whole thing. At one point, he sort of like opens up his thing and sort of, I don't know if he pinches his nipple or brushes it along the way to show off, flash a little peck. And then he ends it off for some reason by having some pizza brought in. And you know what? I didn't even actually listen to the whole thing. As soon as I saw it and I saw this, I think, but dude, that your clapback game is really weak. Okay, this is not a clapback. So basically, this type of tweet, he had basically nothing to say. And all he's saying is like, you're basically confirming that not only did Greta castrate you with that tweet, but she's got your nards in a jar on a shelf. Okay. But he brings in this pizza, and apparently at the end he says, like, don't recycle, and I'm not going to recycle these pizza boxes. Now, if you, I can't blow it up bigger, but
Yeah, you sure you can. You can press the arrow on the right.
There we go.
Boom, there you go.
So here it says Jerry's Pizza. So if you're just paying attention to that, where you'd think he's somewhere, but
You realize
right up
the
here,
language it's written in.
yes, yeah, this Descardi Applicația. Okay.
That's Romanian.
That's Romanian. And I was able to vouch because my beaver sweetie is Romanian.
That's right.
Yes. Apparently, in some type of, apparently he's been accused before of, I don't know how you would call it, having, what do you call that when you, the word's escaping me now, but when you have people, I guess, sequestered? Kidnapping.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Anyway, but holding women against their will. Let's put it that way. And apparently he didn't say something like, not that I'm a rapist or something like that, but he likes to be free to do what he wants. So apparently,
hostage taking. Yes.
Yes. So apparently, this little pizza box with the Romanian lettering and writing confirmed to authorities who were searching for him that he was indeed in Romania and allowed them to get a warrant for his and his brothers and two of their associates' arrest. So they came down and they arrested him and they brought him into custody.
Well, I've got
pardon?
I've got something for you.
Yeah,
I've got something to clap back for you on that one. This is
that
this is a Ron White bit from a few years ago that will totally deal with this guy's oral fixation. So just let me play this here, and you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about.
I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day. I have a friend that's he's a homophobe. Isn't that the most useless thing you could possibly be? Is afraid of gay people. I was talking to him the other day, and he goes, man, this world would be better if there wasn't so many queers. And I'm like, you know what? The next time you have a thought, let it go. I go, we're all gay. It's just to what extent are you gay? He goes, that's bullshit, man. I ain't gay at all. I'm like, yeah, you are, and I can prove it. He goes, fine, prove it. I'm like, all right, do you like porn? He goes, yeah, I love porn. You know that. I'm like, oh, do you only watch scenes with two women together? He goes, no, I watch a man and a woman making love. I'm like, oh, do you like the guy to have a small, half-flaccid penis? He goes, no, I like big, hard, throbbing cock. I did not know that about myself.
Yep. Yep. Oh man, that's wonderful.
See, because it nails it, right? It's like, yep.
Oh man, this is wonderful. Okay, Mr. Grizzly, if you put up the visual.
Sure thing.
So there you go. I saw this on the Surfs TV yesterday first, but Tate and his brother Twiston's home was raided by Romanian authorities, specifically the Directorate for the Investigation of Organized Crime and Terrorism on the morning of 29th of December, reports Romanian media. And then, yes, let's see. This was later confirmed by paparazzi shots published by the Spy News in Romania. And the arrest was in relation to the abduction. That's the word I was looking for, of two girls. Yes. The raid is said to be carried out by the DICOT, the Directorate for Investigating Organized Crime and Terrorism in Bucharest. And these are some images of Sky News, I believe, out of Romania. So there you go. Or I think that's SPJ News, actually, not Sky News, but Sky News was there as well. So yeah, he is not having a good day at all.
Nope,
and
he's done. He's done.
He's done. Now, Mr. Otter, at the end of our while he was at the party yesterday, before he left, confirmed this to us. Hold on, if I can
Can't wait
find
for
it.
you to get it up there.
Yeah, but this is like comedy gold. Like, it cannot be any more poetic. And here you go, Mr. Grizzly. Apparently, Greta is also an acronym that stands for Group of Experts on Action Against Trafficking in Human Beings. It is the monitoring mechanism of human trafficking established by the Council of Europe Convention on Action Against Trafficking in Human Beings in Article 36. So Greta literally
took him down. He's a kickboxer, and she roundhouse kicked him to the nards and knocked him out the ring. Knocked him the fuck out is how they say it, I believe.
And then she picked him up, and then she grabbed him by the shoulders, and then she took her knee and right under the chin. I love it. And this morning, this made the cake. Well, first of all, then you started seeing tweets like this, for example.
Yeah, tell Andrew Tate I want him to know it was me.
And it all coupled with this morning, this one here that just made my day. And why is my computer not cooperating with me?
It happens sometimes.
Hold on.
No problem.
There it is. This one right here.
Okay, I will pull it up there. There you go. I love Greta. This is what happens when you don't recycle your pizza boxes. Oh my God, she's a killer, man. She's a killer.
Cold-blooded.
Oh yeah. Well, let's stick with young women doing amazing things, okay? Because I've got to show you this clip. This is from a group called XG. They're a young group of women who sing and rap and perform, and they're from, I'm not sure if they're from Korea or Japan, because this young woman sings in English, Korean, and Japanese. And she's going to spit some lyrics on you in a second. You got to see this video. This is incredible. 16 years old. Check this out. Amazing.
The OCO and they be popping on the made waves. We would have that little would turn up on it like a fadeaway. She for the don't get lazy flow. When I'm away, no play no games. Hold up, let me okay. 레벨이 low, but it never went out. 또 모조리 다시 우치려면 take it the wrong. 몇 곳은 나 has not like this. Cold, 나 비단 new genesis. Stage 각계가 flicking the wrist. Competition we go put on to rest. Taking no L's and giving no F's. 차원이 달라. 또 보내 100 respect money power. 랩할 때 경선한 cosplay. 어리버리.
Like, come on. That was,
Damn.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Spitting lyrics. 16 years old. Does it in 3 languages and just spits venom. Now, here's, of course, 98% of the people that responded or posted anything in reference to that video, and there's several of them. There's several of them from this band and a group, and 98% were super positive, going like, "Wow, she's got the talent, she's got the look, she's got the vibe, the rhyme, everything down. She's got it." And then, of course, there's the 2% who go, "It's cultural appropriation. She's an Asian woman. Why?" I'm like, "Oh, for fuck's sakes, come on, man! It's music. It's music."
It's gone global.
I mean, look. Usually, it's a white person who gets really offended, right? Usually, it's I'll say a well-meaning white person. Maybe I'm wrong,
Okay.
but I mean, come on, cultural appropriation. No, she's rapping. White people do it. Asian people do it. People all over the world do it. It's part of the zeitgeist. It's music. Music is universal. It's the universal language that we can all understand and speak to one another in. So anybody get bent out of shape because this young woman is doing that? Shut your fucking pie hole. But she's brilliant. Brilliant. There's so much more of that. And that's just her performing live, but there's an actual video for the song, and in it she almost looks like Wednesday Addams, and she's just sitting there stoic and ripping it. Man, I mean, like, it was good. It was very good.
Yep. Speaking of Wednesday Addams, did you see the viral the dance from the show Wednesday on Netflix?
Oh yes,
that went viral?
yes. Yeah, and millions of people doing the imitation thereof on all over TikTok, of course. So
Yeah. Apparently, that Russian figure skater Vasilyeva, who got who was unfortunately caught at the last Olympics for doping, but it's probably not her fault because she was like 15 at the time. It was probably something that her coaches and whatnot gave her. But apparently, she's doing it on figure skates now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'd love to see that. I don't know if it's part of. I'm guessing it's maybe part of her gala program and not her competition program. But So and I found the quote actually from Tate. Not to go back to him, but when basically he was going back to Romania, he said that it's 40% of the reason I moved to Romania. Tate said, "I'm not a effing rapist, but I like the idea of just being able to do what I want. I like being free. If you're a man living in England or Germany or America or any of the Western world right now you've decided to live in a country where any woman at any point in the future can destroy your life." Says a guy who destroys, allegedly, women's lives.
Yeah, he's a rapist. He's a rapist. I mean,
you're just going to outright say it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to add the allegedly here just in case. Because I
Fair.
keep my house.
Well, this is just my opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinion.
But Mr. Grizzly, it might be time for some synchronized tea drinking. Allegedly.
Oh yeah. Allegedly.
Anyway.
Allegedly.
Slug sucker. Good luck trying to drive those cars where you're going, buddy. Oh boy.
Yep,
sure.
The 33 cars that you rent.
Oh man. You know what? It doesn't always happen. But when poetic justice is delivered. and, I mean, come on, beautiful package, gift wrapped bow, right? He goes to that country because he thinks he's gonna oh, ooh, 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 my. Lazy Sunday. He'll end up being the pineapple on the prison pizza. Oh,
Yeah.
You got something not nice to say. Come sit next to me. I like your style. Holy crap. Yeah, absolutely. I all the comments from the kids. Tate has an incredibly horrid influence on young men. Jordan Roberts drops good info for Canadians, says BB. And yes, parents, if you're out there and you've got young kids, right? Especially like, 10 to 16-year-old boys, for who this guy might be their hero.
Yeah.
Talk to your children about their heroes.
No
Talk
kidding.
to your children about their heroes. I'm just saying, right? Yeah, Mr. Otter. Oh, look, the consequences of my actions right on time.
Look, here come the consequence. Look, here come the consequence of my actions.
Oh, yeah. Kit Christine says, what a great way to end the year. Nona says, it was beautiful. Nona, yes, there are two of them, him and his brother, and apparently there are two other. Apparently, I heard on the news that there are 4 in all have been taken in. So apparently, they have 2 associates. Kit Christine, brought down by pizza. Oh man, yeah. And then I think Jake Shields was already out saying, come out. I think it's like some type of setup or blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's the tweet of that reads like the tweet of someone worrying that he might be next.
Oh yeah. Oh, without question. Like he's on
Allegedly.
the chopping block. Allegedly. Yeah, allegedly.
Because I mean, when you're that busy running interference, like it's the first thing you must do. It's like, I don't know about you, but if I had a friend or somebody work associated with whom, I was trying to ride his coattails in some way, and they got arrested for something like this, my first reaction would not be to be posting a tweet right there, being the first one to pop up and saying, oh no, he was completely innocent, and all that kind of stuff. Here it is. There we go.
Got it.
His
Throw
thing.
it
Yep.
up. Okay, here we are. Let me just post it there.
Allegedly, the Tate brothers' home was raided in Romania. My guess is this has nothing to do with a real crime. Let's focus on those words.
Oh, God almighty.
Abducting women to abuse them, is not a real crime. Okay. So my guess this has nothing to do with a real crime, but is a way to silence and harass him because, his strong alpha male message is threatening to the world or something where, the rest of the world just can't handle it or whatever. The FBI/CIA already colluded with big tech to ban him. Have another cookie, Qookie. It's not what he says about women or his Twitter beefs that they fear. No, it's not what he says about women or his Twitter beefs that he fears. What he does to women. So, yeah, reads like the tweet of someone who's really worried that he's next and is pre-preparing the terrain to cry, I'm a victim of the system now, doesn't it? See, I would have kept quiet and held back and say, you know what, let's see how this plays out before being the first to ride a cavalry.
Yeah, no
to claim
kidding.
persecution here.
Well, like you say,
kicks
turds
to
of
the
a
head.
feather.
One too many kicks to the head. Yeah, turds of a feather really stick together. Yeah, It's yep. As Kit Ryan says, so many tweets aging like milk today. And like that little, know that little rascal skit? Don't drink the milk, it's spoiled. Yeesh. Yeesh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Kit Linda says, I won't be surprised if Donald Trump comes out with a statement supporting him. I would not be surprised either because, yeah, that's his vibe, eh? Isn't it?
Pretty much.
He's got a couple of allegations of his own in his circulating.
Oh yeah.
E. Jean Carroll, go girl. Speaking of the orange shit stain, let's he is having a bad week, month, year,
Millennium.
probably rest of his life.
Yeah. How short that may be.
Yeah. Because anyway, today is the day that the U.S. House Ways and Means Committee released to the public his taxes. They'll be releasing 6 years of taxes, if I'm not mistaken. Wow, all my notes appear to have disappeared, which is really weird. They're just like gone.
Okay, well, I've got some commentary from Callum on this
one. Yeah,
one.
please take over for a second while I find them.
I've got commentary from Callum on this one. We all love Callum, right? Callum is 24. He's from Alberta, and here's his take.
So Andrew Tate was arrested in Romania on human trafficking charges, which is not that surprising. But the way Romanian authorities were able to verify his location through a pizza box is, I think, the real story here. To make this story as weird as it can possibly be, let's add Greta Thunberg into the mix. You probably remember Greta Thunberg, the Swedish environmental activist, who basically got famous for being a very smart and aware child. Andrew Tate, for some reason, decided to tweet Greta Thunberg, who is now 19, presumably because she's like a big spokesperson for climate action, and maybe some of the things Andrew apparently dislikes and possibly fears, namely intelligent women. He tweets Greta talking about he has 33 cars, his Bugatti has this and that, his 2 Ferraris have those and these, and he says, please provide your email address so I can send a complete list of my car collection and their respective enormous emissions. Yo, Andrew, if you wanted to slide in the DMs, just say you're a creep and move on. This is a weird way to ask for an email. Also, who uses email? You know she's 19, right? Anyway, Greta Thunberg, in a rare engagement of public criticism, says, yes, please do enlighten me. Email me at smalldickenergy@getalife.com. To which Andrew Tate responds by posting this video, the basic equivalent of, I know you are, but what am I? Thank you for confirming via your email address that you have a small penis. Absolutely genius deflection. And then he says, the world was curious about Greta Thunberg's genitals? Bro, if you wanted to slide in the DMs, just say you're a creep and move on. Okay, so what does this have to do with the pizza box? Well, in this video, misogynist Mr. Clean is served a pizza. On that pizza, the branding for Romanian pizza chain Jerry's Pizza, the very Romanian pizza chain that authorities then used to track Andrew Tate's location in Romania. And now he's going to jail. All because he couldn't help but clap back at a 19-year-old climate activist for saying he has a tiny dick. Alpha male shit, baby.
I love Callum.
Me too.
He's like, so good.
I know. So I'm just like wondering, like, Greta, if you're listening, if you can find those 30,000 emails. No. Could you tweet something to Nick Adams and Jake Shields and Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr. because you
Ben Shapiro and
because one tweet seems to be all it takes, girl. You
take them down.
You got game. just whoever's being a dick out there, just send them a tweet, just put out some bait and see what happens. Let's pass a broom through this damn street. Oh, I love it so much. But yeah, I found my notes. So speaking of the orange shit stain, yes, the House Ways and Means Committee are going to make his tax returns public. They'll be releasing 6 years, 2015 to 2020. Trump always promised to release them after this infamous audit that he always claimed existed was finished. But turns out that the committee that was doing this investigation, allegedly for the purposes of seeing how the audit of presidents take place, found out that the IRS did not at all do any audits of him during that period. They were supposed to, but they did not.
Didn't. Well, that's curious now, isn't
it? So, turns out that apparently they received a note from one of the representatives, and then they said, "Oh my God, we need to get on that." So, yes, he was going to release it after an audit. The IRS is not nice to me. Remember, like this, that the IRS was never actually doing, which means we never would have seen them. Of course, we never would have seen them because, as we said on this show all that time ago, he's never actually proven he's a billionaire, right? I mean, it should have always been alleged billionaire, Donald J. Trump.
He just says it.
Yeah, and one of the many reasons for which he probably never wanted to reveal his taxes, not only because of the nonstop criming, allegedly. I'm saying that a lot today. Not only because of the not if you can't be doing the timing, don't be doing the criming. But because those taxes may have proven that he is not actually a billionaire. Apparently, in 2 of the years, including 2020, he paid no taxes at all. In 2 of the years, he paid $750 only. And in a couple of years, he paid some. But in 2018 in particular seemed to be a very, very good year for him. And wondering how he was doing that, given that everything was supposed to be in some type of trust and all that kind of stuff. But apparently one of those years, he paid $1 million in taxes. So he had a very, very, very good year and was not able to hide stuff. And, turns out that he never actually donated his salary like he said he was going to.
Of course he didn't. Of course he didn't.
Of course he didn't. Money makes his nipples hard. Why would he donate anything? Even his charity that he doesn't have anymore wasn't him giving any of his money, but basically taking flow-through money from somebody else and then donating it in his own name.
Well, apparently he didn't donate anything. Apparently.
Second, what did you think about the ride?
It's great. And apparently, I've never been on live television before, but apparently sometimes I don't watch I don't watch the news because I'm a kid, and apparently Grandpa just gives me the remote after we watch the Powerball.
It's the Powerball. Tell me about the ride. What did you think about the ride?
Well, it was great.
Why?
Because apparently you're spinning around, and apparently every time you get dizzy, that's all you do is get dizzy.
Is it fun?
Yeah. And I've never, ever been on live television. I never, ever be on live television.
Are you excited?
Yeah, and apparently I only went down the super slide. When I went down the one, I was scared half to death.
Apparently.
I just freak out.
Okay.
Yeah, Christine says this kid's a future anchor. He just grabbed the mic and it's like, apparently I'm outside and apparently it's a blizzard and apparently there's gust winds.
Apparently.
I love that. That's so cute.
Oh yeah, it is. It's quite adorable.
Yeah, and in addition to his taxes. Apparently things are not going very well, apparently. Yeah, he's got me doing it.
Of course.
Yes. The January 6th committee released its full report after 18 months of investigation, over 1,000 witnesses, and 1 million pages of documents that they looked at. They released a 154-page executive summary of an 800-page report. Okay, when your executive summary takes 154 pages, you've been up to a lot of shit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying. So I don't think my life biography would have a 154-page executive summary. So apparently, and in this case, unlike the one from the Mueller committee, this summary wasn't stopped by the Attorney General of the day and wasn't issued with the word "not" added in by mistake. We'll just let that sit. Anyway, apparently, one of the headlines of the report is select committee witnesses were almost entirely Republican. And the reason for which they have to say almost entirely Republican is apparently when they listed the witnesses, 3 pages of Republicans, and under the heading Democrats, it says Jocelyn Benson.
Interesting.
This is a plot by the left. No. It's like 90-1 all Republicans that testified. I don't know how Jocelyn Benson got on that list to sort of balance it out. But yes, 1 Democrat. All the testimony came from Republicans. They basically concluded the central cause of the January 6th riots was Trump himself, and were it not for him. And basically, that's all you have to remember is were it not for him. The report could have been titled "Were It Not for Him." There wouldn't have been anything. There were 17 findings outlined, including the main one that he knew the fraud allegations he was pushing were false, but he amplified them anyway, despite his advisors and lawyers telling him that there was no fact basis for his claims. And he's still claiming it now. And it highlighted 8 different plots to overturn the election that were supposed to either work together or coordinate, or when one didn't work, they tried another, right? So Raskin, who, if you've seen him lead the second impeachment, was absolutely brilliant. And this soon after his son had died. He did something, he just put all his energy into that. And he's also was announced recently that he has a health issue. So, if anybody deserves to pull through with it is him, given all he's been through over the last few years. But he stated, "Ours is not a system of justice where foot soldiers go to jail and the masterminds and ringleaders get a free pass." Now, prior to the report coming out, the committee released 34 full witness transcripts of characters whose names you might remember if you've been following this at all: John Eastman, Jeffrey Clark, Mike Flynn, the leaders of the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, Roger Stone, Kelly Ward, Jenna Ellis. And most of them, if you're reading the transcripts, pleaded the fifth for lots of things. And even some weird questions like, "How old are you?" Roger Stone pleaded the fifth on that one. Apparently, him telling the committee how old he was could have left him open to be incriminated. "Did you ever work at the Department of Justice?" To people who worked at the Department of Justice, I plead the fifth. "Did you tell your wife not to be in town on the 6th? Was another question on that. Somebody pled the fifth to that. "Did you attend Duke University?" Someone pleaded the fifth to that.
Wow.
Now, this podcast that I'm listening to, the person who said that, well, I can understand somebody pleading the fifth to go into Duke. I was like, oh.
Fair enough. Yeah, sure.
It's the first time ever that Congress has recommended or referred charges to the Department of Justice for a former president. And everybody was thinking that they would refer 3 charges, but they referred 4. So charge number 1, 18 U.S. Code 1512 C2, obstructing an official proceeding, and referred to the Department of Justice for investigation and charges are Donald Trump, Jeffrey Clark, John Eastman, and Ken Chesebro. So 4 people. And I believe Jamie Raskin said about that part, "The whole purpose and obvious effect of Trump's scheme were to obstruct, influence, and impede this official proceeding, the central moment for the lawful transfer of power in the United States." And for this charge, Just to get a little sip of water here. For this charge in particular, you have to prove someone is of corrupt mind. And in order to help the Department of Justice along with their task, you know how in Microsoft Word you can do a table and put things side by side?
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently they did a 2-column thing where on one side they listed 30 separate instances of conspiracy things, like, they brought in a suitcase of votes and then stuffed it with that, and all this, and whatever, all the ridiculous claims that they made. And side by side, right next to it, they explained how it was not, how some of his officials and advisors told him specifically that this was not a thing, and then mentioned afterwards how Trump kept on saying it anyway after being told. And he did it over 30 times on 30 different claims. So if that does not prove corrupt intent,
Right.
he's told by everyone, this is not a thing, this is not a thing. And he goes out and keeps on saying it. So that and willful blindness as well. That also shows corrupt intent. If you are, if you're doing the no one is more blind than those who refuse to see type of thing, and then you go, I didn't know, that's corrupt intent, because it takes a lot of discipline to be that blind. So the second charge, 18 U.S. Code Section 371, conspiracy to defraud the United States. And for those ones have been referred Trump, Eastman, Clark, Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, and also Chesebro. And there, Raskin said, former President Trump did not engage in a plan to defraud the United States acting alone. He entered into agreements, formal and informal, with several other individuals who assisted him with his criminal objectives. The third referral, 18 U.S. Code Section 371, 1001, and this is the one that came as a bit of a surprise, conspiracy to make a false statement. And of those, Trump, Eastman, and Chesebro. And that's for trying to submit the fake set of presidential electors. So that's, when they, in the United States, it's not actually the result of the vote itself that determines who is the president, but they have the electoral college system where those people are the ones that have to go in and officially cast the vote for the president. And you've been hearing a lot about, we just wanted to prepare a list in case, this election was overturned so that you would have it already. Well, apparently when they were doing that, a lot of, when they were doing the investigation, they found that for the states where the Republicans did do that, a lot of their forms looked exactly the same, with exactly the same wording, almost like they had a form typed up for them by some of them, one of these people, either Eastman or Clark, and sent to them and said, just fill this out and send it back. Now, one or two of the states added some extra wording that said, well, in case of, then we're the electors. And those people probably covered their behinds. But the ones that didn't add the in case of are basically saying, we are the electors. Now, some of the Republicans actually, like some of them had to actually be in the building. So like that thing in Michigan where you heard about the Republicans knocking on the door and saying, well, we're here to cast our votes for the Electoral College. And the security guard was going, well, you guys are not the electors. So yes, we are. No, you're not. You guys didn't win.
You're not.
So some of them had the rules that they had to actually do it from the building. So like they went into like some like basement room or something like that and then had their little meeting together and then signed. Some of them even actually tried to make their documents look like the official documents. Forgeries. So not only did they make the false statements, that wasn't enough, but some of them submitted their formal certifications, these forgeries, to U.S. officials in the National Archives and tried to give them to members of Congress and hold up the vote on the 6th. That's a lot of criming. That's a no-no.
Somebody gonna go to prison.
No. So the documents produced in the Eastman litigation showed that Eastman communicated with Trump, and he was told to go ahead, and that he used that as a basis to attempt to persuade Greg Jacob and Mark Short, who were the staff for Vice President Mike Pence, and they told him to go pound sand at the time. And that's why Mike Pence is going all around. And but Mark Short was the first one to be more vocal in the month's proceeding, saying that he was testifying, and he didn't wait for a subpoena, I believe, to do that. So that one was the one that was a little bit of a surprise. And then the final one is 18 U.S. Code Section 2383, inciting, assisting, or aiding or comforting an insurrection. And Trump alone is referred on that one. And that law specifically says, whomever incites, sets on foot, assists, or engages in any rebellion or insurrection against the authority of the United States or the laws thereof, or gives aid or comfort thereto, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. And here, you do not need to prove that there is a conspiracy. All they had to do is the fact that he basically was responsible for summoning the mob by saying, putting out that tweet, January 6th, come, we'll be wild. And the fact that he did nothing to stop the riot is enough. Because in U.S. law, there's no difference between doing something actively to help or doing nothing to stop. Both are providing aid and comfort. In the report, it says specifically, knowing that violence was underway at the Capitol, and despite his duty to ensure that the laws are faithfully executed, Donald Trump refused repeated requests over a multiple-hour period that he instruct his violent supporters to disperse and leave the Capitol, and instead watch the violent attack unfold on television. This failure to act perpetuated the violence at the Capitol and obstructed Congress's proceedings to count the electoral votes. Now, if you're wondering, in other charges, it's by force comes in there, right? They have to do it by force. In the report, it says, Secret Service confiscated a haul of weapons from the 28,000 spectators who did pass through the magnometers, 242 canisters of pepper spray, 269 knives or blades, 18 brass knuckles, 18 tasers, 6 pieces of body armor, 3 gas masks, 30 batons or blunt instruments, and 17 miscellaneous items like scissors, needles, or screwdrivers, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Ouch.
And thousands of others purposely remained outside the magnometers or left their packs outside. Now, the ones being left outside the magnometers, that's the thing, if you remember, where the orange shit stain lost his mind because they weren't allowed on the grounds because, he likes big crowds. He's another one who's concerned with size. Anyway.
Just saying.
Oh, man, it's a great day. The president was unconcerned. Trump was more bothered by the fact that some of his supporters were not within the secure perimeter for his speech, and the crowd would not appear as large on camera. This actually says this in the report. They did not want to go through the magnometers, mags, where any concealed weapons would be detected and confiscated. Cassidy Hutchinson, who was with Trump backstage before the rally, testified, quote, and he felt the mags were at fault for not letting everybody in. But another leading reason, and likely the primary reasons, is behind he wanted it full, and he was angry that we weren't letting people through the mags with weapons. What the Secret Service deemed as weapons and are weapons. But when we were in the offstage announce tent, I was a part of a conversation. I was in the vicinity of a conversation where I overheard the president say something to the effect of, quote, I don't fucking care that they have weapons. They're not there. They're not here to hurt me. Take the fucking mags away. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol from here. Let the people in. Take the fucking mags away.
Well, what does that tell you?
Yeah. Now, the 18 U.S. Code Section 2383, inciting, assisting, or aiding or comforting an insurrection charge will be easier to prove now, given that 2 of his minions, the founder of the Proud Boys, included of them, have already been sentenced for the next one on the list in terms of the code. So this is Trump is being referred for U.S. Code Section 2383. 2384, the next one, is seditious conspiracy. Now, for that one, it says, if 2 or more persons conspire to overthrow, put down, or destroy by force, hence the by force, all the brass knuckles and all that kind of stuff, the government of the United States, or to levy war against them, or to oppose by force the authority thereof, or by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law of the United States, then they shall be fined or imprisoned not more than 20 years, or both. Given that 2 of them have been already sentenced for seditious conspiracy, and the Oath Keepers trial is on now, there'll probably be a couple more there. That makes it easier to prove the 2383, the inciting the riot and providing aid and comfort to. And the reason why they're looking at that one for Trump alone, as opposed to 2384 seditious conspiracy, is like every good mob boss, um, you know, uh, former President Pumpkinhead, basically does that thing, where he talks some code and doesn't get his hands dirty, right? So they don't necessarily have enough, they believe, to prove that he conspired with the people that have been sentenced for seditious conspiracy. But for 2383, you don't have to prove conspiracy. You just have to prove that you did nothing to stop it once you were aware of it, which we all know he did because he just basically was watching TV. And in the report, something that wasn't made public before, but is now, was testimony from Hope Hicks, who was the youngest White House communications director in history and somebody to whom he was, with whom he was very close. During her testimony on December 19th, the January 6th House Select Committee presented her videotaped testimony in which she revealed Trump's response to his advisors and aides pleading him to change his messaging after the 2020 election. I was becoming increasingly concerned that we were damaging his legacy, Hicks said. Okay. I mean, his legacy sucked to start with.
Yeah.
This just really made it worse. Right. Lazy Sunday with Wade and Doe. So what you're saying is that Trump will also become the pineapple on the prison pizza. It's a common theme today. Who lives in a pineapple at Rikers?
Under the sea.
What did the president say in response to what you just described? An off-camera voice asks Hicks in the video clip. She responded, he said something along the lines of, nobody will care about my... No, how about nobody will care about my legacy if I lose, so that won't matter. The only thing that matters is winning. Now, the new details that have come out in the report is that Hogan Gidley, who was a staffer on and spokesperson for Trump's campaign, texted Hicks pre-January 6th asking, any chance that you could get the president to say that people should be N-O-N in all caps, violent out here? Question mark. And Hicks responded, hey man, I'm trying, but the president does not want to do that. That's going to look good in court.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, apparently, more that we found out is that Hope Hicks texted the Trump spokesperson Gidley in the midst of the January 6th violence, explaining that she had suggested several times on the preceding days, January 4th and 5th, that President Trump publicly state that January 6th must remain peaceful and that he had refused her advice to do so. Her recollection was that Trump White House lawyer Eric Hirschman earlier advised President Trump to make a preemptive public statement in advance of January 6th calling for no violence that day. No such statement was made. So he was told by his lawyer to say it. He made a choice not to say it. Now, lawyer Andrew Torres, who's part of the Cleanup on Aisle 45 podcast that I love and I listen to a lot, says, I'm not saying he planned the violence, but he knew there was violence going on and he fanned the flames. At best, he did nothing, and at most, he encouraged it to continue. And apparently, that's enough for U.S. Code Section 182383. And that one has up to 10 years for him. So seditious conspiracies up to 20, inciting and aiding, abetting, or providing comfort is up to 10. Now, if you put all these crimes together, at the low end, if we're being very conservative, if he's convicted on all of them, that could result in about 70 to 87 months or 6 to 7 years. And that's conservatively if an upward departure from guidelines is not requested. And, well, given he's the fucking president, and given that he swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, there could probably be a case for an upward departure. If the Department of Justice tries to argue that this was a case of domestic terrorism, at worst, he could be facing up to 262 months or 23 years in jail. So right now, it's anywhere from 6 to 23 years.
Well.
And I don't see how they would not make a case that this was domestic terrorism. I mean, we all saw what happened that day.
So who's going to be spit roasted first?
Man.
We all know what spit roasting is, right? I don't know.
Yes.
I don't need to spell it out, do I?
Yes. Yeah. I personally don't tend to make those jail jokes, but watch the Family Jewels and spit roasted and whatnot, just because the side of the ledger that I'm on. But I know it's a very common thing, and I'm not going to, especially for this guy, I'm not going to. But yeah, let's just say, I hope he gets, when we're talking about just desserts, the most beautiful piece of chocolate cake ever, and that he gets his 2 scoops, while everybody else gets 1.
Yes.
Just leave it at that.
Well, look, let's go back to Paris from 2014 when they erected an inflatable Christmas tree, and this is exactly what he'll be experiencing in prison. That's not a tree.
It's not a tree?
That's not a tree.
But it's green and very coniferous.
No, that's not a tree.
Are you
It's a
sure?
giant butt plug.
Oh, okay. Oh, by the way, you know what? When the other day we were talking about the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, like this, there's a scene where Jamie Lee Curtis has little trophies on her desk for tax collecting, and I'm looking at it. The first thing I turned around and I looked at Alex, goes, that trophy looks like a butt plug. And if you watch the movie, you will see the trophy. Let's say the trophy makes an appearance later on, because
we'll leave it
like
at
in
that.
Agatha Christie, you never show a gun in Act 1 if you don't intend for it to have been used in Act 3.
No, you do not.
But it was I just had this random thought, it's like, gee, those trophies sure look like butt plugs. And I thought, okay, well, that's tax collector and all that kind of stuff, they're a pain in the ass. Okay, you got a butt plug trophy for being a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
and I thought that was the joke, right?
Symbolism there for sure.
Oh yes, the song "Prison," you're my prison bitch, you're my prison bitch, by Rodney Carrington comes to mind. Yes. Welcome to True North Eager Beaver Radio. The song of the day is Prison Bitch.
Followed up by Ram Ranch. Ram Ranch Resistance. Oh, yeah, here we go.
10,000 boys all greased up at the Ram Ranch.
We're not going to sing the lyrics, though. We'll get in trouble for that one, for sure.
I don't know. I thought that song was rather catchy myself. But maybe it's a cultural thing. I don't know.
We played it a lot during the occupation. Speaking of the occupation.
Yes.
Convoy question. If a man and a woman convoy protester get married in Alberta, then travel to British Columbia for a honeymoon, and then to Ontario to get divorced, would they still be brother and sister? Fuck the convoy.
I was drinking water.
Did it come out your nose? But did it come out your nose? You can use two of these if they're very tiny to plug your nose.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Help me. Oh, fuck. Oh, that's bad. Oh,
in
God.
sporting news, hockey versus soccer. Neymar rolling around on the ground like he's been shot. His upset referee doesn't believe he's injured. Boston Bruins player who's been hit so hard that his visor has cut his eye is upset. The referee says he's injured and has to leave the ice. Just a slight difference between the two. You know?
Slight difference. Speaking of hockey, since we're talking about it,
World Juniors crushed Germany.
And Austria.
11-1. And Austria.
11-0.
Yeah. And I
wow.
the way the tournament works is it's a win-loss and goal differential, right? So
right.
They have to keep scoring. And I noticed too that Team Canada, when they scored the 11th goal, there was like no celebration. It was just okay. Yeah, let's just face off again.
Right.
And Germany had played a great game in the first period. In the second period, they got that 5-minute major, and in junior hockey, you serve the entire penalty. So Canada scored 4 goals in 5 minutes.
Yeah, 6 goals in the whole period.
Yeah, that was kind of the end of the game at that point. And it's the way the tournament works. Like I said, you have to continue to score, otherwise you can be eliminated.
Right.
So it kind of takes away from the sportsmanship of it in that sense.
Yeah.
You know, because nobody wants to be, and I'll guarantee you, every player on that team has been on the receiving end of a lopsided loss like that.
Yep.
Nobody likes it.
Yep.
But the way the tournament is structured, you have to keep scoring. So it kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Well, as a curler, you know, there are high scoring games in curling too. And, you know, when you have a match that's not going right and you're in the fourth end and you've got 8 to play and the other team's already winning 11-0 and they're still trying to make the triple takeout for 4.
Yeah.
In the fifth end, it's like, dudes, seriously, you've won. Like, stop piling on. But like, even in curling, we do that. We just like, when we're blowing out like that, after a while, we just stop putting the points on. We play the ends because we have to play at least 6. We just stop putting the scores back up on the board, so that like the people watching
in one of the
lounge, you know, there's a courtesy there.
One of the hockey leagues I played in, I play a lot of ball hockey and on ice, of course, but one of the ball hockey leagues I played in, because the games can be very high scoring. They had a mercy rule. If one team was winning by 6 goals, nothing after that counts. You get the 6 goals, but after that, you know, we play the allotted time because everybody wants to get their full time in.
Yeah.
But we stopped keeping score at that point because it's just humiliating. It's humiliating for both teams, even the victor, you know. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, you don't want to win that way.
No.
It's no. I mean, it's and we do the same thing. Like the other team, I mean, the option of the other team to concede, you know, always comes first. But you know, sometimes like it's like, do you want to give up? And it's like sometimes it's like, yeah, I've had enough. It's not going to get any better. And it's like, no, let's keep playing. We definitely need the practice, and we've paid for the ice time, right? But yeah, if you put Mr. Grizzly, if you'd put it up as a result of
haven't got anything. Oh, there it is.
2-11. I just put it up there of 11. Score games, goal games.
They get
1, 2,
14
3,
points.
4, 5. The top 4 score point getters are Canadian in the tournament. 5 of the top 6, and 6 of the top 10, I would say, or 9.
Canadian,
are Canadian. So including this Bedard guy, and Linda said, my interest in the World Juniors has been completely ruined. I haven't been paying any attention to it. I haven't been paying much attention to it either. I haven't watched a game yet, but, you know, following the scores and whatnot. But this Bedard guy, who I have not seen play and I don't know who he is, has already got 14.6 goals and 8 assists. So
they expect him to be like the next superstar in the NHL. He's not a big guy. I've watched him play. He's a freak. Here's the thing. He's got an incredible shot. He's not super fast. He doesn't have crazy Mario Lemieux moves or Gretzky moves or Denis Potvin moves. He just has an amazing shot and a good sense of where to be on the ice. The kid will do well if he makes the NHL. I said if he makes the NHL, because there's no guarantees, right? There's no guarantees.
Yep. And one other bit of news, because we were talking on the last show about Jack Crawford, or James Crawford, the alpine skier, having an incredible season. Well, at Bormio, we had mentioned that he had taken the silver in the downhill. The very next day in the Super G, he finished 6th, so another top 10 for this guy.
Nice.
He's just, I don't know what happened this year, but he's riding a wave.
He's on fire.
He's on fire. Good for him.
Now,
So yeah,
sticking with sports, I got one more thing for you here.
Okay.
This is our amazing women's national hockey team. Canada closed off the Beijing Olympics with 26 medals, placing after Norway, Russia, and Germany in the total count. It was Canada's lowest number of podium finishes since 1994. But the women won gold, and that's what really matters. So 26 medals, and it was our lowest finish in almost 30 years, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Because the Winter Olympics we excel at because, well, Canada, snow, right?
Right.
But it was one of our weaker Olympic games in the last 30 years. But still, ladies winning gold in Canada in hockey, but we'll take that every time. Every time.
Absolutely. And speaking of the hockey team, Canada captain Marie-Philippe Poulin won the 2023 Northern Star Award, making her the first female hockey player to claim the honor, given annually to Canada's Athlete of the Year, voted on by media members from across Canada and awarded by the Toronto Star. Poulin finished 2nd in scoring at the Beijing Games with 17 points, one behind teammate Sarah Nurse. She had 10 points in 7 games at the World Championships in Denmark, including an assist on Brianne Jenner's opening goal in a 2-1 win over the U.S. in the gold medal game. She is the first female hockey player to win the award, the 9th hockey player overall. Montreal Canadiens goaltender Carey Price was the last to win in 2015. Other contenders for the prize this year included tennis player Felix Auger-Aliassime, golfer Brooke Henderson, swimmer Summer McIntosh, speed skater Isabel Weideman, soccer player Alphonso Davies, Colorado Avalanche defenseman Cale Makar, and BC Lions quarterback Nathan Rourke. The Northern Star Award has been awarded out annually since 1936. Until this year, it was named as the Lou Marsh Award, so that might be what you're more familiar as if you follow this type of things, after a former football player and NHL referee who spent more than 40 years working in the Toronto Star sports department. But the award was recently renamed after concerns surfaced in recent years over some of the racist language used in Marsh's writing. And as Linda says, playing an entire game wearing masks as well. I will never forget that. That is indeed true. I remember that.
The
that
visual
was
alone was very telling, right? For all the idiots going, well, masks stop my breath, I can't breathe properly. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, well, they just played an entire Olympic level hockey game wearing masks under their masks, by the way, because they wear full face masks in women's hockey. So yeah, every single one of those people who don't know what science is and tell me that you can't breathe properly underneath them can go to hell.
Right. Now, Poulin also won the Female Athlete of the Year from the Canadian press. So her 2 goals, including the eventual game winner, drove Canada to a 3-2 win over arch rival United States for the gold. And she captained Canada's back-to-back World Championships in 2021 and 2022 after a run of 5 straight titles by the U.S., and she had scored the OT winner in the 2021 World Final as well. So, her nickname is basically Captain Clutch because she delivers. Yeah. She got 22 votes out of the 48 and was called the ultimate big game player. Swimmer Summer McIntosh ranked 2nd among the voters with 10 of those votes. For the Canadian Press Female Athlete of the Year, she's the 2nd hockey player to be voted after Haley Wickenheiser got it in 2007. And she's just the 3rd woman in team sport to earn the distinction, following Wickenheiser and, of course, soccer player Christine Sinclair, who won it in 2012 and 2020. And I hope for her, given that the Women's World Cup is coming in Australia and New Zealand, that she has her Lionel Messi moment as well, winning a World Cup as the best female player to ever played the game. Poulin said, sometimes you ask yourself, why do you train so hard? Nobody is there, nobody's watching. But at the end of your life, it's the work you put in when nobody is watching. It's that extra rep, extra mile, just to maybe one day be ready when that big moment happens. That's how I've been training my whole life, that extra rep. It doesn't matter when it's going to show or when it's going to matter. When those big moments happen, you're ready. She has 97 goals and 103 assists in 166 career games for Canada. and she was hired by the Montreal Canadiens as a player development consultant this year. So for the men, and I called it at the end of October. The Canadian press recognized Félix Auger-Aliassime as the male athlete of the year. The Canadian press began recognizing male and female athletes in 1932. So he wins the Lionel Conacher Male Athlete of the Year award. He's the third tennis player in history to receive the honor, having been given out. It was given out to Milos Raonic in 2013 and 2014, and Denis Shapovalov in 2017. And I can't believe that Daniel Nestor was never given it.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, you may not follow tennis, but if you do, Daniel Nestor was like a doubles player who's won like Grand Slams
Everything.
with many different partners, men's Grand Slams, mixed Grand Slams. He has an Olympic gold medal. He has like over 800 tour victories. I mean, the guy's a legend. In like countries, they would build statues to a guy with his record. He never won it. Interesting. Last year's winner was the decathlete Damian Warner, which I also called last year. Félix Auger-Aliassime won 4 titles this year, one in Rotterdam, one in Florence, one in Antwerp, and one in Basel, finishing the season at number 6 in the ATP rankings, his highest year in finish to date. He also led Canada to the ATP Cup and the Davis Cup, which is the first time Canada had won it in its 109-year history. Félix Auger-Aliassime said, "It is a great satisfaction. It's maybe even the first year where I can really say that I have achieved all my goals and even better. When I look at the season in a whole and tell myself that I won my titles and that I qualified for the Masters," that's the year-end tournament where they bring in the 8 best players of the year, "that I'm now 6th in the world, I am very pleased." Kit Linda says it feels like double tennis is never given the same level of respect that single tennis enjoys. That's true, but at the same time, doubles tennis has never been actually more popular, because back in the day, it used to be single players that played it when they can, and now we have bona fide double specialists who are stars in their own right, like the Bryan brothers, the United States were forever, or Gabriela Dabrowski here from Canada. So it's, but yeah. You're right. Doubles doesn't get the same level of respect, and mixed doubles even less because it's played less often. Now, apparently today, I was looking for it and I haven't seen it yet, but apparently today the CP is supposed to name their team of the year as well. So yeah, they do men, women, and team of the year, and they release it 3 days in a row near the end of the year. So just taking a look to see if they have it, but that may be released later because it's still relatively early in the morning.
It is indeed.
Oh, wait a minute. No, it is out. The Canadian men's soccer team was voted the Canadian Press Team of the Year. They announced it 3 hours ago. So there you go. It marks the second straight year a soccer team has earned the award. The Canadian women won in 2021 after their Olympic gold medal performance in Tokyo. "It's a huge honor," said Canada's men's coach John Herdman. "I think it's a testament to the sacrifices, the hard work that's gone in over a couple of decades behind the scenes, the struggles for many of the past players and staff and coaches for the organization. I think for everyone." So there you go. And Herdman, if you don't remember, was the coach of the Canadian women's squad that won the CP Team of the Year of the award in 2012 after winning bronze at the London Olympics, and he took over the men's team in January 2018 when it was ranked a lowly 94th in the world.
Oh, I just got a headline flash here a second ago. I guess this was 7 hours ago, but it just popped up on my feed. Nick Cannon welcomes baby number 12. Dude, condoms. Like 12 children, and I think they're with, 4 or 5 or 6 different women? I'm not even sure. Like,
yeah.
Is he trying to raise his own soccer team?
Yeah. Kit Elaine says, "I have to ask, since I couldn't hear anything last night at the party, did Douglas's need for cookies get brought up or discussed last night?" No.
I don't believe it did.
No.
No.
It's like I never said anything. I'm sad. Real tears.
Alas. Tears. Real fake tears.
Well, you know,
Liar. Liar.
it's not the end of
Liar.
it's not the end of the year yet. Dean has until midnight. Well, technically has until Monday, you know, when he wants to take his time slot back. But yeah, I'm holding out. I'm holding out. Hear me, Dean? I need my cookies. Give me the cookies or your time slot gets it.
So in more Andrew Tate news, one for
is there
you here.
more?
I just came across this. Yeah, I just came across this a moment ago. This is the thing, everybody. You're going to love this. I'll throw this on the screen. Andrew Tate, I don't sleep with vaccinated women.
Because they won't sleep with you?
Why not? Vaccinated women are used to a little prick.
The jokes write themselves. I love it.
Right? He just can't help himself, can he?
Holy crap, man.
Like, talk about walking right into, my good God.
I love it. Speaking of soccer, and this makes a segue to yesterday was a rough day for losses for the world.
Pelé,
world famous, universe famous, legendary soccer star Pelé passed away.
You know who else passed away yesterday?
Yes.
Ian Tyson.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Now you have to understand, Pelé. I know nothing about soccer. I know slightly a little more about soccer since the Canadian women and the World Cup. I had never even seen what Lionel Messi looked like until I watched the final.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how ignorant of it as I am.
Have you seen Ronaldo?
I knew. Pardon?
Have you seen Ronaldo?
I wouldn't.
Cristiano Ronaldo?
I believe I saw him play in the World Cup. Was it the World Cup?
You'd remember him.
Where he lost to Germany. Brazil lost to Germany really bad.
No, he's Portugal.
Oh, Portugal. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, hang on. I'll find a good photo of him here because
there's Ronaldo and Ronaldo, right? I think both of them.
Ronaldinho and Ronaldo.
Ronaldinho. There you go.
Yeah, and here's a picture of him right here. Just a sec. I'll just flash this up on the screen. Here's one photo of him. Get off my screen. Yes. Here's one photo of him from a couple of years ago.
Oh, Ronaldo. Damn.
Yeah, he needs to spend more time in the gym, I think. He's really let himself go.
I think I'm going to need a post-show cookie after seeing that. Damn.
Well, and there's more. There's more. Let me see. There's another photo of him here. He's a rather picturesque-looking individual.
Daddy needs a towel to wipe off. Just whoa.
Here he is with his. I think this is with his son. No, his son's. Oh no. He's just. I don't know who. Oh, get off!
Nona goes. You would remember him. He's pretty.
So he's relatively fit, but he's also, kind of pretty.
Yeah.
And I mean, pretty. He's ripped,
That's
of course, because he's a professional athlete, so he's ripped. But the other thing you got to remember about him is that he also has these Greek god good looks, but he's pretty. He's not rugged. He's pretty, but he's ripped.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Ronaldo. You wouldn't forget him.
He's pretty. He's ripped, and he's pretty ripped.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So yeah. I feel you, Nona. Damn. Yeah. So yeah, I knew nothing, and I knew of Pelé. So I mean, you could know absolutely nothing about soccer. Right, and you would have known Pelé. Apparently, I said apparently. That kid's got in my head. He has one. Apparently, no, not apparently. It's true. It's fact. You can check. He's the only player.
3 World Cups.
3 World Cups, exactly, and
back to back.
Hence his legend. Was he the one that did that bicycle kick? Also,
I think he originated that back in the 50s because when Brazil won the World Cup for the first time, and actually when they played for the first World Cup, Nobody had ever seen that style of play before. And back then, like Brazil is now famous for feigning injury and rolling around and acting like somebody shot them. Back then, they wouldn't do that. And their tackles, their slide tackles, they'd go in cleats up. They played rough and tumble soccer back then, and they were known as, don't mess with these guys, you will walk away bleeding. They didn't feign injury, they didn't roll around, they just played really hard street style soccer, and Pelé brought that in, along with the Brazilian jiu-jitsu artists who played soccer. So a lot of the kicks, the bicycle kicks, the upside down kicks, that was all brought in and introduced to the sport by Pelé and the Brazilian team for that matter. But Pelé was the god, right?
Right. Yeah. So the world lost Pelé yesterday, and then the world, or particularly Canada, because I'm not sure how famous he was around the world, but
Don't kid yourself.
I'm guessing he was, yes, because he was part of that whole era where folk was just huge. Canadian folk and country legend Ian Tyson has died at the age of 89. He died at home at his ranch in southern Alberta on Thursday of ongoing health complications, his family said in a release put out by music publicist Eric Alper. Oh, I follow him on Twitter.
Eric
Eric
Alper.
Alper. Yeah, he
so
always
do I.
posts those music questions every time. What's
Yeah.
your favorite song involving something? Oh,
He's
well,
great,
I did
yeah.
not know he was a noted music publicist. I just thought he was a big music fan.
No.
Yeah. Alper noted Tyson's many accomplishments in Thursday's release. He's an inductee of the Canadian Country Music Hall of Fame, as well as the Canadian Music Hall of Fame. Also an inductee of the Alberta Order of Excellence, member of the Order of Canada twice over, recipient of the Governor General's Performing Arts Award. He was the parade marshal at the Calgary Stampede's 100th anniversary. Of course, many people might know Ian Tyson as well from the duo Ian and Sylvia, his wife at the time, Sylvia Fricker, who they became a couple on and off the stage.
And they remained friends even long after their divorce. They were still very friendly with one another.
Yeah, they had basically, I was listening to him in an interview, and he said basically, she said, I'm a country boy and she's a city girl, and she was missing the city, and even our musical styles were starting to diverge at one point. But he, both went on to have wonderful solo careers as well. Ian Tyson wrote the song "Four Strong Winds" apparently in just a few minutes after hearing Bob Dylan while he was out in the UK. He said, "I can maybe do that."
Yeah.
And then he wrote a song, and the rest was history from that part on.
Well, I'll give you relate a story to you about Ian Tyson. I was fortunate enough to see him perform at City Folk here a few years ago with Corb Lund, and he was on the bill. And the headline act that evening was Father John Misty. I don't know if you're familiar with his music. Love Father John Misty. He's not a father, and he's quite young, but Father John Misty. He used to be in Fleet Foxes. Anyway, great songwriter, great performer. And Ian Tyson came out, did his show, and then he was getting ready to walk off stage, and he was not doing well physically. He took a few steps and said, "To hell with this," turned around and came back and sat down. And Corb Lund, who was appearing with him on stage, said, "Okay, boss says we're going to play one more." And they played Four Strong Winds, which was really cool. Okay. So Father John Misty, an American, walks out on stage, and he just says, "Wow, that was really cool. Four Strong Winds. I love that song. Everybody knows that song." He says, "Did he write it?" And everybody was like, "Yes, that he's the guy who wrote it." And anyway, he was like, "Whoa, that's heavy, dude." I was like, that was kind of cool. Because that song was written long before Father John Misty was born. Years before he was born. And he knows that song. That's how famous that song is. And there was a story about Ian Tyson playing at the Horseshoe Tavern in Toronto a bunch of years ago. And actually somebody else was playing, and Ian Tyson was there, and he got up on stage, and they asked him to sing Four Strong Winds. And he was like, "What? Okay." So and the whole audience, everybody was like, under 30, sang it word for word, note for note. That's how famous that song is. It's legendary, and he will live on forever because of that contribution to music.
Yep. No, he was the host of the Ian Tyson Show also, if you had watched that on TV. Sylvia Tyson said she's quoted as saying, he put a lot of time and energy into his songwriting and felt his material very strongly, especially the whole cowboy lifestyle. Ian and I were apart for a lot longer than we were together. And aside from making some great music, we made some wonderful friends and got to play in a lot of wonderful places. And then Tyson's last single was You Should Have Known, released in 2017. Tyson always said that he wanted to leave a body of work that would stand the test of time. And, well, I think it's kind of obvious, goal achieved right here.
Oh, yes.
A close service will be held by Tyson's family, according to Thursday's release, and the Ian Tyson Legacy Fund is taking donations in his memory at westernfolklife.org/donate. So, a big loss for our culture.
Massive.
And then the third loss yesterday was legendary fashion designer and punk style legend Vivienne Westwood.
Yes, that's right.
Yep. Her name became synonymous with the 1970s punk explosion. I believe the Sex Pistols went to get their gear at her shop.
And you know why the band was formed, eh? The band was formed to promote the shop. The shop was called Sex, and Malcolm McLaren decided we should get a punk band and form a punk band to promote the shop. It was literally just a marketing arm of the store. That's all it ever was. That's all it was ever meant to be. And then it kind of took on a life of its own, of course, but you know. And then you got to remember, Sid Vicious was not an original member of the band. He was just somebody who went to their shows and loved it. So eventually he ended up joining, but he couldn't even play the bass. Yeah. He was Sid Vicious was probably the biggest punk rocker in the world, and maybe one of the most famous after G.G. Allen. But yeah, he was never a musician. He couldn't play. He couldn't sing. He just represented that sort of punk ethos, and it was just a marketing arm for the store. That's all it ever was.
Wow, I did not know that at all.
I'm a music guy, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I was figuring. So yeah, and I don't know. Every time I heard that she had passed away, and again, you can tell generationally. The first instinct that came to my mind is that song "If I Were a Rich Girl" by Gwen Stefani and Eve, because she mentioned it. Clean up Vivienne Westwood in my Galliano gown. So I've been having that song in my head, like if I were a rich girl, na 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 na. But yeah. So yesterday I was like, okay, universe, that's enough. Right? 3's enough. Like you can stop now. But keep the Andrew Tate shit coming though. I can take another scoop of that. The world balances out. We got Andrew Tate on one hand and Greta that gave, and you know, the universe took Pelé, Ian Tyson, and Vivienne Westwood. So, you know,
it's a give and take, right? Give and take, yeah. So
I got
two graphics to show you here. So first off, here is, it's not going to be a news day without Skippy. I love this photo. That look you get when you realize you backed the wrong horse. So Skippy being Skippy, and all of his members of parliament are like, what the hell is he going on about? Okay, number one, you know how he's always saying Canada is broken, and he's the one who broke it, of course. But let's just look at this little graphic. World Index, countries where people would most like to live. Who's up in number 1 right there? Canada. Number 2, New Zealand. Number 3, Switzerland. Number 4, Australia. 5, Spain. 6, Italy. 7, Netherlands. 8, Sweden. 9, Norway. 10, Denmark.
Yep.
All countries that, have strong social safety nets that Skippy keeps saying he wants to get rid of to make it free. You'll be free of taxes and free of social services, which means people are going to die.
Yep.
I mean,
indeed. And Skippy in true Skippy form, didn't do his year-end press conferences himself.
Apparently, he's going to be doing one today. He had Andrew Scheer do it, though, right?
Yeah, he had Andrew Scheer doing it, and Andrew Scheer was basically asked I think it was Glenn McGregor, why it is that simply Oliver's not there because he's not talking to the press gallery and all that kind of stuff. And Andrew Scheer, I was trying to find the clip so we can play it, but I can't find it. Basically did is, I reject the premise of your question, which is a thing that Andrew Scheer and Jason Kenney used to say a lot when he didn't wouldn't say why reject, but it's like, well, he does lots of media and stuff like that. And he says, yes, but he doesn't do it with us. Yeah, but are you saying that the other media that he does are like second rate or not worthy? And it's like, no. What's that thing we had, right? I like tea. So you're saying you don't like coffee? It's like, so if you're saying because he does interviews with other press that's not the National Press Gallery that, that press sucks. It's like, no, but we also do journalism and political journalism, and he won't talk to us. We're just stating what is without stating something about anyone else. But Skippy's got to be careful about that because, during his campaign, his wife a couple of times had to come in and run interference and answer some questions for him. And now Andrew Scheer's doing it. And he's going to start developing a reputation as someone who doesn't fight his own fights.
And people want this guy to be prime minister? He can't face a tough question from a journalist. What's he going to do when he has to face down, I don't know, President Xi from China?
Putin, Assad. Putin. Well, he'll roll over for President Xi, right? I mean, that's what he suggested we do when Meng Wanzhou was there, right?
He'll present himself.
Yep.
He'll present.
You want the left cheek or the right cheek first?
Which one? Which one?
Yeah. So, here's the thing, right? With Andrew Scheer, it's like you were rejected. You were rejected. You presented yourself as prime minister, and you were rejected, and you decided to stay. You never renounced your U.S. citizenship.
No. Well, he said he was
going to start. Never cleared anything up about your employment history, Mr. Insurance Salesman. And the United States has the same thing going on with this George Santos guy. Right? I was like, is there anything on that guy's bio that's remotely true? And of course, he's not planning to, they're looking to see if they can get rid of him. And he's saying, well, I got the seat now, so I'm not going anywhere, even though I lied through my teeth.
Through his teeth.
Everything. Yeah. So, I don't, and he's stuck around because clearly, apparently Andrew Scheer can't get any other job because after he's being rejected and humiliated, he is still staying in, and he managed to, put lips to butt and press firmly enough on Pierre Poilievre to be named his House leader. And you know what? When the public tells you to go, you should go.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And he's just hanging around. And maybe that's the price he had to pay in order to keep that $700,000 to $900,000 he spent quiet. Because there's a report on that. The party did an investigation and report. But the party decided that we, the plebs, didn't need to know what that report said. Even though a lot of that $700,000 to $900,000 was funded via the political donation tax credit, which is very, very generous and is your money. But you're not allowed to know how Andrew Scheer spent it.
No, of course not. No. You can't know those things. No.
Because, and he will go to the mic and say how the current government is the most corrupt one ever.
Because he's got nothing else.
Yep. Loser. So yeah, this is not good. Not good. What we're getting from our conservatives, federally, provincially, and you have to understand, right, that this version of the Conservative Party is the one that came into the power, with preaching the Accountability Act after the sponsorship thing. Right? Accountability was supposed to be the party's brand, right? That's what they were supposed to be born out of, rising from the ashes of the old PC party. And then, all the false starts with reform and crap and all the other whatever names they gave themselves in the meantime, until they came out as the conservatives like this and rode that sponsorship thing and said accountability. Our first act will be the Accountability Act, and then we'll introduce an Ethics Act. But we'll name someone as an ethics commissioner for 10 years who will never find us guilty of any ethics violation, despite the fact that we've had people go to jail and we've pleaded guilty in court to winning our first election by committing electoral fraud. And then after we were caught committing electoral fraud financially to win, we still tried to keep $1 million of that money because we filed false documents to Election Canada.
Here's what they can do. They can take that and use it as it was designed.
Pull up a seat. Make yourself comfy.
So apparently today, Skippy is going to do a tough on crime presser.
Oh, Lord, help me.
Yeah. So one of the comments I just came across my feed here is, everyone ready for the tough on crime presser from PP today? His timing on this reeks of desperation, poor timing, and self-promotion. My prediction, he gets absolutely crushed. I'm wondering, are there going to be actual journalists there or hand-picked people that he wants to talk to and not, the press gallery?
This guy already, I'm just... He was already got on my nerves before he was leader, but this... me, I'm... Things like skipping debates and that type of stuff, right? That's the stuff that really sticks in my craw, because the job is to give us the information we need to make an informed choice. And this guy just will not participate in that in any way, shape, or form. So I am just like, just pisses me off. Kit Elaine says, Kit Dharma says, shared PP sure love living off the Canadian taxpayers. Indeed. And Kit Elaine says, technically PP's parents too, because allegedly his parents also live in the official residence of the leader of the opposition. That I did not know. That I did not know at all. I hadn't even heard that. I'll have to keep an eye out to see what I can find out about that. Yeah. Kit Linda says, people also aren't paying much attention to political news at this time of year, so he picks now to make a major policy announcement like that. Is he going to make a policy announcement? Or is he just going to whine?
Does he know how to do anything other than whine?
Listen, but we've had like some really wild crimes. I mean, we had that police officer
just murdered.
Just murdered. I'm guessing, from what I can understand, is that there was a car in the ditch, and I guess he went down to help and wound up dead. And then there was the story of those 8 girls, aged 13 to 16, who apparently met online. 3 of the girls are 13, 2 are 16, 3 are 14, who met on the web, who all come from different parts of Toronto. And after having an altercation earlier in the evening with someone else, found a 59-year-old man and fatally stabbed him. The story seems to be in order to probably get the alcohol he had on him.
Just brutal.
Yeah. So their identities obviously cannot be released due to their age, but one of them was granted bail under very strict conditions yesterday. Had to surrender her passport, remain with their parents, can't have a cell phone. The others will have a bail hearing on January 5th. And we have he tried to, his little sortie on the opioid epidemic, claiming that the Liberals were flooding the streets with unsafe supply. And, he's, I don't know how he's going to try to beat this drum on tough on crime, particularly, when he provided aid and comfort to domestic terrorists.
He's got he doesn't have a leg to stand on. I mean,
well, that's the thing I don't understand with this guy, right? It's like he doesn't have a leg to stand on at all, and yet he's still trying to kick. Like, this is not your topic, dude. Tough
Give it up.
on crime specifically is not your topic. Mr. I still have a compliance agreement with Elections Canada for trying to cheat in my own elections.
Like, seriously, this is what this guy gets. Seriously.
Yeah, seriously. And the thing is also is like the only reason we know of this guy is that he became an MP in 2004 and then became a member of government in 2006 as a result of that election that was stolen with the In-N-Out scandal. It's like his whole career is fruit from the poison tree. He is going to be the tough on crime guy. Really?
Yeah.
Really? The shamelessness, the utter shamelessness of this, whatever this thing, that movement that's masquerading as conservatism in the UK, in Canada, in the United, I mean, just and people are buying this.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
buying this. For they so wanted to hate the liberals that they will literally buy anything this shyster is selling. It's like, how do you have an entire career that's built on a crime and then claim you're going to be the tough on crime guy? And people are going to buy it. And people are going to donate to the party because of it. And most of the people that are going to donate are going to be young men who maybe can't afford it, and senior citizens who can't afford it. I mean, I look at this party go, and it's this, to me, it's like, the greedy son and the greedy daughter. Like, hey, grandma, just sign this document right here. And we'll take care, Like, they're literally fleecing people out of their money. Promising them the moon and the stars, and with absolutely no intention to deliver. None.
Zero.
None. Wrapping themselves up in the flag and in patriotism and in virtue and in... It's exhausting.
Oh, yeah.
It's exhausting. It's literally like this whole thing is going to be him taking a slalom run down bullshit mountain.
I concur.
It just is. Now, of course, I'm going to have to watch it like this because,
it's like a
I
train
watch
wreck.
these things so that you don't have to.
You don't want to look, but you can't look away.
But seriously, man, seriously, like, I just wish, like, you could have like a national Scheer in Moonstruck on call and just like send her out and snap at him. Just like, Scheer, girl, we need you.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? That would be wonderful.
Oh man, these
laying the smack down.
It really is exhausting. It just is. But that's the goal, right? That's the strategy. Flood the zone with so much bullshit that the rest of us just get tired and say, we're just going to go do something else with our time. And then again, when the cats are away, the conservative mice will play. And that's how we get Doug Ford winning with the 43% turnout and 18% of the eligible vote. Because people are just, People are tired of being lied to their faces. People are tired of having their intelligence insulted.
Yeah, and we're kind of the silent majority because we've, just ignore it, ignore it, ignore it. It'll go away. But it's turned out that we can't ignore it. We need to pay attention because if we don't, we get Doug Ford reelected after abandoning the city of Ottawa and acting like it was no big deal. So we need to wake up, smell the coffee, and turn up at the ballot box and vote. Because if we don't, we're going to end up with another Ford government. And if Pierre Poilievre gets elected, we're in deep shit.
We are in definitely deep shit. As Kit Christine says, I still find it amusing that they are conservatives while being anything but conservative. And if you've been listening to the show, that's one of the things we've been saying for years. It's like there's actually nothing inherently conservative, small c, conservative, about these people calling themselves conservative anymore.
They're not.
So they're literally masquerading. And whatever it is that they're presenting to us, getting people so riled up and pressing that anger button so that, it's like, oh, well, they're wearing blue and it's my team jersey, so I'll support them no matter how horrible they are.
They're Kinos or Chinos or Chinos or Cinos or Sinos. Conservative in name only. CINO.
Yeah. In happier news, our elegant and wonderful Governor General, Mary Simon, announced 99 new Order of Canada appointees.
Yes.
Yes. Among them, Sidney Crosby.
I was hoping I'd get a nomination. I guess it didn't work out.
I think we need to put a couple more years in.
And less F-bombs.
Nomination.
Less F-bombs.
Well, you know what? That's the grand plan, right? Over the next 30 years, right? Is like do this show, win the Order of Canada eventually, like this, and then get our Senate seats. While cashing in our George Soros checks.
I still haven't got my first Soros check. Did you get yours? I'm waiting for
mine. Yeah. I got mine.
I still haven't gotten mine.
Maybe you need to make sure that he's got like the right address.
That's possible too. Yeah, I'll just have it. I'll just have him email it. He can email it to me. It'll go right into my account.
Yeah, just give him a call. You got his. You got his direct line, right?
Oh yeah. On the red phone.
Georgie, right?
Well, then now I get a Trudeau check too, right?
Yes, indeed. Let's see. Yeah.
If only Serb is going, give me the money back, bitch. I'm like, whoa. I was out of work. No, we want the money back because I haven't filed last year's tax return because I'm missing a T4 from one of my employers because our company was purchased by another company, and the former company that was purchased, I don't have a T4 from that. So I have to go to CRA to request my T4 to get it so I can file last year's taxes to say, I ain't giving you the CERB back. I was rightfully mine. So fuck you.
So yes, we have hockey player Sidney Crosby, comedy legend Eugene Levy. I don't understand how come he didn't have that already.
No kidding.
Yeah. Former Team Canada soccer goalkeeper and broadcaster Karina LeBlanc.
I met her.
Really?
Yeah, I met her at the pump one day. A couple of years ago, Canada Day Eve. She was there with, who was the young woman who scored the goal that gave Canada, won the bronze medal? I can see her face. I can't think of her name right now. But they were sitting there on the patio. Pardon?
Matheson?
Diane Matheson. Yes, that's who it was. They were sitting there on the patio, and I looked over and I go, that's Karina LeBlanc, Diane Matheson. And I'm like, holy shit. And as they were walking out, they like literally were walking right by me, and I stopped them and I said, hey, Team Canada. She turns, she goes, Team Canada. I'm like, and I was fanboying because they're Olympic athletes. They won the bronze medal. I mean, Olympic athletes, especially women's soccer team, there's no money in it for them. If they're lucky, they can parlay that into a career in either broadcasting or whatever field they studied when they went to university. But it's not like there's, and they've all since retired, right? With the exception of Christine Sinclair, who's somehow still going strong. But Diane and Karina have both retired. So, there's the sacrifices they make to play for Team Canada are huge.
Right.
Huge.
Right.
So I do turn into a fanboy when I meet Olympic athletes.
Yep, me too. Other actors, Michel Cote and Victor Garber, if you remember the TV show Alias,
Hmm.
won as well. Got
He was also in the
honored, I should say.
Titanic. Remember,
Yes,
he
as
was in
well. Yes,
Titanic.
yes, he was. Ellie Rubenstein was honored for his work on Holocaust education. Former CBC host Ted Barris for advancing understanding and education of Canada's military history. Also, winners were David Saint Jacques, the astronaut, lawyer and former CRTC Commissioner Conrad von Finkelstein, retired judge and lawyer Harry S. Laforme. Businessman John Louis Bragg of Spring Hill, Nova Scotia, received a promotion to Companion of the Order of Canada, receiving the honor for his exceptional contributions to the prosperity and well-being of Atlantic Canadians and for his legendary commitment to the development of rural communities. And he is the recipient of many honors. He is from the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation in Southern Ontario and has 5 honorary doctorates and was the first Indigenous person in Canadian history to sit on an appeal court. So, you know, these are names we often don't hear because, you know, they work in the law and, you know, they don't get a lot of press because they're judges and, you know, you're not supposed to be the news. But, you know, make great contributions to the nation. Laforme served on the court for 14 years before retiring and said his proudest moment is when he stood up for LGBTQ marriage rights on a 2002 Ontario Divisional Court panel. That was a beautiful case, and I was able to use my Indigenous background and my belief system in answering those questions that were given by the lawyers and asked by the lawyers, he said. Equal marriage to me made complete sense when I thought about it in terms of what I'd gone through in my life. And as a shameless plug for us, if you have not listened to our interview yet with Murray Billett on the 25th anniversary of the Delvin Vrind Supreme Court decision, which forbade discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation in Canada, please do. It's a great interview, and Murray has had a very, very, very interesting life story. Of course,
Indeed.
very engaging speaker and lots of fun, and all right, great guy, personal friend of mine. So, you know, and take a listen for it. I'll put a link here when I can find it. And as a curler, I'm a big fan, but Colleen Jones.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, again, another one who I do not understand how it is that she hasn't been invested way earlier, considering that she won her first Canadian championship way back in 1982, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And
I was going to
she's
say.
also a CBC broadcaster, right? She's had
Yes.
contributed to Canada in very visible ways in 2 different fields.
A very charming ginger.
Oh yes, she's wonderful. Every time I see her on TV, she makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
She's literally sunshine on 2 legs, that woman.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So
you know who else? You know who else I find is very similar to that is Mary Berg.
Doesn't ring a bell off the top of my head.
She's on CTV. Ginger with red glasses. Does a cooking show. See if I can find a picture of her here.
Yes. She won the MasterChef, Canadian MasterChef once.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, I remember her. Yes,
she's always changing her glasses up. Here's one of her with, well, actually, here's a few pictures of her, but here she is. Here's a lovely photo of her right here.
Oh, I love
green glasses. And I like her without the bangs. I mean, she can pull the bangs off, right? Clearly, she can pull the bangs off. But I like her without the bangs. Like here, that photo right there is just, that's great.
Yeah, she's a delight.
Oh yeah, she's very. She reminds me of Colleen Jones in her sort of upbeat manner.
Gal Kitlinda says, "I really hope that Murray writes a book. He really should.
He should.
He really should.
Absolutely
He's got the story. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, what else have we? The Government of Ontario, we're moving to some health stuff here. Government of Ontario's Physician Services Agreement will only pay, when it comes to virtual therapy, virtual care, it's picked up over the course of the of the pandemic because we weren't able to go in to the hospitals. But apparently, the Government of Ontario Physician Services Agreement is only going to pay the full amount for virtual care to physicians who see their patients in person once every 24 months. So for one-off virtual appointments, apparently funding is cut by half or more. So this service that apparently was helping us, they're trying to make it somehow less accessible in an area where a lot of people don't have a family doctor and sometimes need a one-off.
They want you to pay through the nose.
But they're not going to pay they're only going to pay the physicians half.
Yeah, of course.
If you're not someone that they've seen in 24 months. But
because they want to privatize it.
Well, let's put it this way. I'm still waiting for a family doctor, and I've been waiting now like for over 4 years.
I have one, but I haven't seen him since pre-pandemic times because, well,
yeah. So, well, like take that situation. If you have something and you say, okay, I need to do it like through virtual service, your doctor is only going to be, because he hasn't seen you in the last 24 months, would only be paid half for that visit, which probably would disincline him or her.
Oh yeah, of course. He wants to look. They want to break the public system.
Yeah, financially would disincline, of course. With first do no harm, probably wouldn't, because most doctors are good people. But just another decision to try to break us. Bill Cherniak of Rock Doctor, which is a system that was created, virtual system specifically, says that a small fraction of the doctors on the platform would meet that requirement because they're basically doing all virtual care. He said, I think in an ideal world, yes, everyone would have a family doctor who's available to them and a mix of virtual and in-person practice. But the world that we live in is that almost 2 million people in Ontario don't have a family physician. BC and Alberta have really doubled down on virtual care. The Alberta government made in-person and a virtual service parity. And when it comes to mental health, with virtual therapy, Dr. Alison Crawford, who's the medical director of virtual mental health at the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health in Toronto, stated, "We already knew how to do virtual care, but it was the volume that really changed. We went from 350 virtual visits per month to over 10,000 virtual visits per month, and I've never really gone down since. We would not have seen the shift under different circumstances," which is the pandemic. This past March, the World Health Organization revealed that the global prevalence of anxiety and depression increased by 25% during the first year of the pandemic. And a survey by the Angus Reid Institute, also from March, by Angus Reid Institute and the CBC, found that 54% of Canadians' mental health had worsened over the past 2 years, jumping to 63% for women aged 35 to 54. All the data shows that virtual care is very effective, and it's as effective as in-person care for pretty much any condition or situation that you can imagine, says Dr. Crawford. Yeah.
Well, here I've got some COVID numbers for you. I'm going to post on the screen here. Here's the latest. Number of COVID deaths per year in Canada, 2020, 15,307. 2021, 14,606. So it went down. 2022, 19,035.
Right.
Let's get one thing straight. 2022 wasn't the year that we learned to live with, quote, COVID, in quotation marks. It was the year we were told to ignore COVID while it continued to cause mass suffering, disability, and death.
Right. And as we kept on saying on the show, how can you teach us and how can we learn to start living with COVID when we're still dying from it?
Exactly.
Yeah. And in numbers, right, higher than before. Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, over 651 million cases and 6.6 million deaths have been reported worldwide. The cumulative infection and death rates associated with the COVID-19 pandemic are probably underestimated due to a lack of adequate testing and infection data from around the world.
Well, let's consider the bigger picture here on this in Canada for a split second, if we could. Ontario specifically. Long COVID does not fall under ODSP.
No.
ODSP is a fucking joke. It's not, you can't live on it, right? Ontario Disability Support Program. It is not enough money to survive on, number one. Number two, if you get long COVID and are incapable of working, you don't qualify for ODSP. So maybe you can get welfare, which is $750 a month. We can thank Mike Harris for that. Yeah, that's not enough money to survive on. We are making people suffer needlessly because the government in power refuses to do a fucking thing about it.
Right. Right. We see here, Kita BB says, COVID is over like racism is over. Encourage third shot for folks who haven't yet. Follow Dr. Joe Vipond's advice. Kit Linda, we never had a family doctor in the 12 years we lived in Northern Ontario. There just weren't enough doctors, and they were always leaving. Had to spend hours at a walk-in if we needed to see someone. It's like, yeah. And when you're talking about the long COVID, we mentioned it a little bit on a previous episode, but Canada's chief science advisor released on December 14th recommendations to combat long COVID. Mona Niemer is our national chief science advisor. She gave the government a roadmap to wade through some of the murky and mysterious elements of long COVID in an effort to offer people better treatment, starting with an admission that the disease even exists. Okay, this is from a Canadian Press article.
Christy, right here on the show right now. I have had long COVID for 26 months. I'm blessed that my work has supported me the entire time. Count your lucky stars on that one, Christy, because yes, a lot of people who have long COVID are out of work and can't survive.
Yep. According to the article, as of August, 14.8% of adults who have had COVID-19 experience symptoms 3 months or more after their initial infection. The symptoms range in severity and include muscle pain, brain fog, trouble breathing, extreme fatigue, gastrointestinal problems, and heart palpitations. To start, we need to acknowledge that post-COVID-19 condition is real, that COVID-19 manifests itself as an acute but also as a chronic illness, Niemer said. For now, there's no consensus on the definition of the condition or how to diagnose and treat it. This is where we need a lot of research to understand what was going on, and we also need perhaps to try and see if any of the existing treatments for other diseases can be repurposed, she said. The 18 recommendations include strategies to identify and treat patients, track them, research the condition, and prevent infections. It's still not well understood why COVID-19 manifests itself long-term, but the Canadian Institutes for Health Research President Dr. Michael Strong said that there are 3 factors at play. The first is the damage done by the initial infection to the heart, lungs, or other organs that can have long-term or lifelong effects. The next is immune response triggered by the initial infection, which can continue after the virus is defeated. And third, the virus itself can have long-term impacts, particularly in the case of neurological disorders. Several of the task force recommendations call for a research strategy to learn more about the impacts of long COVID and how it works. Dr. Niemer again said, we don't know why women are twice as likely as men to contract it. We don't know why it can accelerate the onset of other chronic conditions like diabetes and heart disease. But it is evident that post-COVID-19 condition is a serious condition that can have at times irreversible health consequences. Now, the last budget of the Liberals included $20 million over 5 years to research the long-term effects of COVID-19, as well as the wider impact of the pandemic on the healthcare systems. The money will be used to develop a research network devoted to long COVID, which will award research grants in the new year. The task force also recommended that the government develop a web-based platform to connect potential patients with government services and scale up prevention efforts like improved ventilation in schools, workplaces, and public spaces. The full report is expected to be released early next year, but Health Canada and the Public Health Agency of Canada will review the recommendations in the meantime, which is according to the Canadian Press. So yeah, it seems that some things are starting to move on that, but
slow.
Way too slow. Way too
slow.
slow. As soon as we started hearing about long COVID, that should have stopped. That should have started.
Oh, immediately, yeah. But the slow wheels of government.
Yeah. Kitty Lane says to Kit Christie, I'm happy for you that you have such a supportive employer, and yeah, so are we.
Yeah, we are too. Believe me.
Yeah, because that's very important. On the subject of also COVID, that died suddenly thing that keeps popping up. People are, because of heart disease and infections. Well, there's a recent study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology where researchers compared the prognosis of myocarditis developed after getting your mRNA vaccine, and with viral myocarditis over 6 months. So they did a survey of routine healthcare records in Hong Kong's hospital authority through their electronic public healthcare database. And those were linked to population-based COVID-19 vaccination records for identifying cases of myocarditis post-vaccination. So they looked at individuals diagnosed with myocarditis between the January 1st, 2000 and December and 31st of December. Well, that doesn't make sense. 2019. There was an error in the document
So
there.
it would seem. Yes.
So yeah, I would say probably January 1st, 2000. Yeah, it can't be 2000. It has to be 2020.
2000?
Yeah.
That's,
so
that's pre-SARS, right? That's
yeah,
pre-SARS
I
in
think
Toronto.
that it's a typo in the medical report, but I think that it probably intended to mean January 1st, 2020 and 31st of December 2020. They were assessed for being, so they looked at the data for that period by the no, they went up to 2022. Well, that's weird. Anyway, I don't know, but yeah, they have the wrong dates. It's all throughout the report. It's the wrong dates. But okay, by March 31st, 2022, close to 9 million vaccine doses were administered to close to 4 million patients of 12 years and above in Hong Kong. The cases in that time that they did the study, 1,483 myocarditis cases were documented, of which 119 were cases after vaccination. After applying the eligibility criteria, 866 individuals were considered for the final analysis, comprising 104 patients with vaccination, post-COVID-19 vaccination myocarditis. And basically, they said that the myocarditis incidence was estimated to be about 2.6 out of every 100,000 vaccinees. So it's a pretty low rate. Now, among people that got myocarditis after receiving the vaccine, 92% of individuals had been administered just one dose, the prime dose, and 65% had received a double dose, whereas only 8 individuals had been administered a triple dose, so 2 doses with a booster vaccinations. During the 6 months of following up, 1% of people, so that was about 104 individuals with post-vaccination myocarditis, and 11%, so 84 out of 762 individuals with a viral infection-associated myocarditis died. Now, if you look at that, when you put it all together, the post-COVID-19 vaccination myocarditis group demonstrated a 92% lower death risk. Similar findings were obtained after restricting the analysis to individuals aged between 18 and 59, confining myocarditis post-COVID vaccinations to cases occurring within 2 weeks of receiving the vaccination. The team observed a statistically significant association with a greater number of hospitalizations, increasing the period to 56 days. The conclusion of the report is overall the study finds that there's significantly less mortality rates among individuals diagnosed with myocarditis post-COVID-19 than with individuals with viral infection-associated myocarditis. So basically, this died suddenly thing is not a thing.
No, of course not.
Not a thing. The rate is way
Never
lower.
was. It never was a thing. It's just people trying to peddle bullshit.
Yeah. But now we have the scientific data to show it. So there you go. That one was particularly interesting to me because, all the noise being made out of it, but yeah, made of it. So yes, significantly lesser mortality rates from myocarditis from people who have received the vaccination. So it's not, yes, there is a small risk, like we said, 2.6 out of every 100,000 vaccinees, but of them, right, the death rate is still way lower than people that just receive that come down with myocarditis just naturally after a viral infection of some kind. So there you go. Also in the news, do you have anything, Mr. Grizzly?
A couple of things, actually. Talking about work and workers versus employers. This year, workers went head to head with their bosses. First came the great resignation, then quiet quitting. The panic generator from buzzy headlines spelled great news for job seekers, workplace consultants, and LinkedIn personalities. But was it all just sensationalized clickbait? Research from the University of Toronto suggests the trends were overhyped and Canadians' attitude towards work hasn't changed much recently. Still, by the summer, corporate Canada could not stop talking about quiet quitting, the rejection of the notion you should go above and beyond at work. Why it matters. Sensationalized headlines aside, tensions between employees and bosses are high as workers try to capitalize on a tight labor market by seeking big pay bumps, demanding greater flexibility, or fighting over work culture. Only 21% of Canadian workers find their jobs engaging, and 55% report feeling stressed a lot of the day while on the job, reducing productivity. 15% of Canadian employees left their job last year, and 52% of Gen Z and millennials globally said they were thinking about quitting this year. What's next? A battle is now heating up over mandated returns to the office, which is likely to be won by employers, especially as Bank of Canada rate hikes soften the job market and reduce workers' leverage. So 2023 is going to prove to be a very interesting year when it comes to gainful employment of any type. It makes one wonder if they start forcing people back to the office 3 to 5 days a week, how many people are just going to say, nah, it ain't happening, I'm quitting.
Yeah.
And I'll go to work for somebody who will allow me to work from home 3 to 5 days a week. Because look, people have been able to save money and improve the quality of their lives by avoiding the commute. Period. All my bosses have said the same thing. They come in 1 day a week or 2 days a week. I'm in the office 3 days a week because my job requires it. Sometimes 4 days a week, occasionally 5. I love working from home on Mondays and Fridays. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which makes me a twat. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'm a twat. It is funny, right? But my bosses have said that the quality of my life is improved tenfold because I'm able to get all the things done in my day that I had to wait till the weekend to do. So when the weekend rolls around, I have my own time to myself. I'm not getting home every night at 8 p.m. after, dropping off this, picking up that, doing the groceries, paying that bill, running here, running there. I can do everything from home for the most part, run down the street to the grocery store in 10 minutes, get what I need. I'm in and out. Like, yes, that's kind of like, me. I live downtown and I walk to work. I walk everywhere to the grocery store. It's a 5-minute walk for me. It's a 10-minute walk to the office. It's like the quality of my life with this particular assignment has improved tenfold because 2 days of work from home, 3 days a week in the office, and I don't use my car ever. Like, I bought my car, leased it in January of 2020, January 30th, 2020. I have 22,000 kilometers on it. I get 20,000 a year as per my lease, which would give me 80,000 over the 4-year term. I've got a year left on my lease, a year and a month left on my lease, and I'm well under the allotment for mileage. So yeah, quality of life has improved tenfold, and I can't imagine people are going to be eager to rush back to the office, spending time in traffic, on the train, on the bus, et cetera, spending time and money on things that they haven't had to spend time and money on in the last, almost 3 years. So forcing people back to work, it's not going to go well. Not everybody can quit. I think you'll have some boomers who are close to retirement age and some older Gen X who are, maybe a few years off. Will just say, package me out. I'm done. I'm not. No, because people have had a tremendous increase in the quality of life. So yeah, forcing people to do something they really don't want to do is going to make them fall flat on their face. It's not going to go well.
Indeed. The data point that I was missing in the previous one that I was looking for. It escaped me. Is when they were saying that the findings show significantly lesser mortality rates among individuals diagnosed with myocarditis post-vaccination than individuals with viral infection associated myocarditis. When they say significantly, right, they're not joking.
Mhm.
The post-COVID-19 vaccination myocarditis group demonstrated a 92% lower death risk.
Wow. That's
92.
big. 92% is big.
Yeah.
That's humongous, as they say.
Did not
Humongous.
die suddenly.
Yeah.
Just not a thing. Also, for if you live in Ontario, as of January 1st, pharmacists in Ontario will be allowed to prescribe treatments for 13 common conditions. Doesn't necessarily mean that they'll all be ready to do it on that day, but that's the day where it starts becoming legal. They will be able to assess patients and prescribe medication as needed for pink eye, acid reflux, cold sores, skin irritation, menstrual cramps, hemorrhoids, impetigo, insect bites, hives, hay fever, and sprains. They will also be able to treat uncomplicated urinary tract infections and prescribe antibiotics after tick bites to prevent Lyme disease.
So I'm on the fence on this one. There's a part of me that likes the idea behind it because, I suffer from rosacea and eczema. Now I have plenty of scripts left, but it's not so difficult for me because I can just call my doctor and he'll go, yeah, I'll just re-up your script, no problem. But prior to having a family doctor, I had to go to a walk-in clinic, get a script, and it's like a real pain in the butt for a lot of people. So if you have rosacea or eczema, you can just go to the pharmacist and say, I need this and this, and oh yeah, no problem. We know what you need. We'll hook you up. That will make life a lot simpler. Somebody did suggest that how were they able to properly diagnose somebody? I'm like, well, so my good buddy Stu, Stuntman Stu, he's a radio personality here in Ottawa. We've been friends for, God, more than 20 years. Well, more than almost 25 years now that I think about it. He's alive because his pharmacist recommended that he go to the hospital right away. Matter of fact, he says he owes his life to his pharmacist because he had leukemia, but he didn't know it. He was getting constant nosebleeds. And he's like, what can I do? And she asked him about all his symptoms, and she said, you need to go to the ER right now. He's like, what? She goes, I'm telling you, go. When you leave here, go straight to the hospital, go right to the emergency room, tell them what your symptoms are, tell them your pharmacist recommended you come here. And turns out the doctor said if you hadn't come in, you probably wouldn't have lived another day.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that's how serious it was. So he had a bone marrow transplant, and he's doing well. He's doing well. I mean, he has to take every possible precaution because he is now immunocompromised, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Stu's a solid guy. He's a really good community member. He does a lot of charity work. I've known him for, like I said, a long, long time. He and his wife are just two of the most charming, lovely people you could ever want to meet. And, he says, my pharmacist saved my life. So you got a question. My concern, my big concern about all of this is when do they start charging for this simple diagnosis?
Mm-hmm.
Because I guarantee you, Shoppers Drug Mart, which is owned by the Galen Weston group of companies, was pushing for this.
Yep.
So how soon before they start charging? Do you have to give them your OHIP card each time you get a new script for,
Yep.
Hey, look, I have eczema on my arm. I need a betamethasone cream. I know exactly what I need. Can you just give me a script? Yeah, okay, just give me your OHIP card.
Yep.
It's a money-making scheme.
Possibly.
Which is what I'm thinking. Maybe I'm wrong. But then again, it is Doug Ford we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There's always money at the root of it.
Yep. Well, as you said, quoted in the article, all Shoppers Drug Mart and Loblaw pharmacies in Ontario will offer the service as of January 1st, Jeff Leger, president of Shoppers Drug Mart, said in an email on Wednesday. So they'll be ready. Rexall Pharmacy Group and McKesson Canada, who were speaking for Guardian, IDA, Remedies, RX, and the Medicine Shop, said that their pharmacists will also participate in the expansion. Not clear whether all stores in the chains or smaller independent pharmacies in Ontario will be able to take on the additional workload of performing the assessments starting January 1st.
Right. That's the big question. Will the independents be able to do it? And probably Probably not, and probably worried about the insurance that they'll have to have as an add-on to their existing insurance
Yes,
because
in
if they
case of
misdiagnose
misdiagnosis.
somebody, right? Like,
Right.
do they have to have malpractice insurance now?
Yep.
Makes one wonder.
Yep. So anyone who has the symptoms of one of the 13 conditions should call their pharmacy or check their website before going in person to make sure that assessments are available there. So that's very important. And this is in addition to the announcement 3 weeks ago in Ontario that Ontario pharmacists will be able to prescribe the antiviral COVID-19 treatment Paxlovid to patients.
That
As
was
of
supposed to be available over the counter for anyone.
uh,
I've never
it
seen it.
wasn't in Ontario until about December 12th.
Huh.
Yep.
Hmm.
Health Minister Sylvia Jones made the announcement saying that it's another step to make it more convenient and faster for Ontarians to access care. Faster is doing a lot of work in that sentence because it should have been done already. Quebec has been doing this like since last year
Oh, yeah.
around Christmas time, I think. Yeah. So about 4,000 pharmacies have been dispensing the drug. Patients still needed a prescription from a doctor or clinical assessment center in order to access the medication. As of December 12th, this has changed. Eligible patients will be able to get prescriptions for Paxlovid in person or virtually at no cost. By increasing access to these treatments in more convenient ways, we're helping to keep people healthier and reduce COVID-19 related hospitalizations, said alleged Health Minister Sylvia Jones. While it is voluntary progress, we are quite optimistic that there will be many pharmacists that choose to do this because it's another pathway for them to assist their patients directly. Justin Bates, the president of the Ontario Pharmacists Association, said the expectation is that the majority of pharmacies will participate, but they'll have to look at their patient population and individual circumstances to make that determination, he added. Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health said back in early November that the province was considering this change to help expand access to the drug and keep people out of hospitals amid the tridemic of COVID-19, influenza, and RSV. There was a concern in particular in isolated areas where you may not have good access to primary care physician. You may have access to a pharmacist. So that gap was looked at, and I do believe they're working aggressively on that, said Dr. Kieran Moore at the time. So there you go. 13 conditions, and as well, if you need Paxlovid, you'll be able to go directly to your pharmacy. But yes, do check with your pharmacy first because you don't want to make a trip for nothing, especially if you're not feeling well.
No kidding.
Very important. Let's see, what else did I have for you here? Some economic news, actually. Data from Statistics Canada has shown that year over year, inflation has indeed been creeping down each month after peaking at 8.1% in June. Much of the decline can be attributed to falling fuel prices, and the Bank of Canada signaled that it's not done with rate hikes. As we were talking about on the show, because you said about food, it wasn't going down, and the day, so I went to do. That's why I got this. So I went to look. The food inflation rate was 11.4% in September, the highest it's been since 1981. Meanwhile, core inflation, which excludes food and energy, has continued to hover around 5.3 or 5.5. So basically,
Porn
food
inflation.
Core inflation. Core.
Oh, I heard pornflation. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but it sounds interesting.
It sounds like something that Andrew Tate can't do with his small dick energy. No pornflation at his. You just handed it to me. I had to. But basically, the inflation rate on food is more than double what the core inflation rate is, which is 5.3 to 5.5, and the inflation rate overall is about 6.8. Peter Dungan, an economics professor at the University of Toronto's Rotman School of Business, said, "The magic number is not zero. In a country like Canada, we would expect on a year-over-year basis 2% growth. So if you have even 1% growth, that's what people sometimes call a growth recession. And it's likely to be one in which the unemployment rate would start to tick up. So, basically people have been saying that a recession is coming. In Ontario, 2022, Canada's unemployment rate was 5.2%, according to Statistics Canada, slightly higher than the record low of 4.9% in July and in August. But in the event of an economic downturn, Experts say that unfilled jobs will be the first to disappear before the employment rate starts to creep up, so there'll probably be a lag. In a report published November 7th, the Bank of Montreal said that it expects unemployment in Canada to reach 6.5% over the next year as a result of a shallow recession. And the Royal Bank expects the rate to increase by 1.7 percentage points in 2023 to nearly 7%. So basically between 6.5 or 7, saying that lower income Canadians will be the hardest hit. When it comes to oil prices, that's usually been good news for the Canadian economy, given that we're the fourth largest oil exporter. University of Calgary economics professor Trevor Toome says that higher oil prices are normally a positive for the Canadian economy as a whole, but I still think that all the evidence suggests that they are, but not all provinces. Dungan, who is the guy from BMO, if I remember correctly. So let's go check from the University of Toronto's Rotman School of Business, believes that the lower oil prices now spell more good news than bad, given the relative lack of oil sands investments at risk of cancellation and the impact of oil prices have on inflation. What a lower oil price will do, I keep on saying ore instead of oil. There's something wrong with my mouth today. What a lower oil price will do around the world, both in Canada and around the world, is take the heat off inflation. This means the central banks don't have to raise their interest rates as much, which means that would relieve the direction going towards a recession. Now, while the Bank of Canada has been raising interest rates, housing prices across Canada are starting to see steep declines from their peaks. According to the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, average home prices have fallen 15.6% across Canada between February and August of this year. Now, this translates to a loss of wealth for Canadian households. But an RBC report published in late October said $900 billion had been lost as a result of the housing market correction, and expects losses to net wealth to peak at $1.6 trillion. As a result, the RBC expects the decline in wealth to cut into consumer spending, which could decline by $15 billion next year. We've already seen softening in the housing market, but the next sector to see some softening could be the manufacturing sector. We've seen already a pretty big slowdown in consumption of physical merchandise, particularly in the United States, from really high levels earlier in the pandemic, says Nathan Jansen, who's a senior economist with RBC Economics. I am tripping over my tongue on this one. Consumer spending will also likely take a hit thanks to inflation. The Bank of Canada's Consumer Expectations Survey in October found that consumer confidence was declining, and many Canadians plan on cutting spending to deal with high inflation. For this year's holiday season, Deloitte Canada said it expects spending to fall 17%. So,
well, I've got some news in the world of bullshit.
Ooh, please.
You know who George Santos is, right?
Yes, we mentioned him very, very briefly earlier on.
Well, apparently his mother died twice. 9/11 claimed my mother's life, so I'm blocking so I don't ever have to read this again. December 23rd marks this year marks 5 years. I lost my best friend and mentor. My mom, you will live forever in my heart. So which one was it, George? Is there anything about this guy that's real?
Now, apparently, he explained the discrepancy as saying that saying
just full of shit.
But he's basically saying that, well, my mom didn't die on 9/11. She died as a result of things that happened on 9/11. But those are like tweets 6 months apart.
Yeah.
Apparently, his the places where he said he got his degrees have no record of him. The places where he said he worked have no record of him.
His charity doesn't exist.
His charity doesn't exist. He says that he's a gay Republican and that he's been married to this guy, but apparently marriage documents say that he was married to a woman up until last year. He's the Republican elected on Long Island for Congress. Some Republicans are trying to get some distance from him and are trying to see if there's a way that they can make it so that he can't access his seat. But because the Republican majority is so slim in the House, it looks like there's a certain segment of the Republicans that are looking to give him a free pass, despite the fact that there's a lie. There hasn't been a lie he's not been willing to tell.
Mm.
There is nothing about this guy.
He's a complete bullshit artist.
Just, and you know, I mean, I just,
Yeah, I know. It's just pathetic.
I know.
Mhm.
I guess, and I mean, we see this like this, and then the other day I saw this tweet with Kyle Rittenhouse, like in front of like Congress, and it says like, in 5 years from now, my office. It's like,
Not if smart thinking people have anything to do with it.
but it's like, where can you go out and take lives, and then just like
Not get charged.
well, he got charged because I mean,
Well, yeah,
there was a trial.
yeah, right. There was a
Because-
trial, right?
But there was a loophole. He got off on the loophole because there was nothing in the law that applied to people who weren't of age to be able to possess a firearm legally.
It's just truly bizarre.
Otherwise, he would, like, had he been of age, he would have been convicted.
Only in America.
But because he wasn't of age to hold the weapon, he wasn't, because there was nothing in the law that
Wasn't old enough to
planned
own,
for that.
possess, or use the weapon he used to murder 2 people
or
with.
carry across state lines.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Right. But now he's a star, and they're fluffing him up, and he's basically considering becoming a congressman. When they say that no man is all people are considered equal under the law, and no man is above the law, and not exactly true all the time. Not exactly true all the time. So yeah, this George Santos guy again, and if you see pictures of him again, directly from Central Casting as a smarmy type. I mean, let's put them. There we go. There's a picture of him. This guy.
There we go. Yep, Central Casting.
That has smarm written all over it. And, I mean, let's put it this way, right? The text of the article says, quote, "Do you have no shame? Tulsi Gabbard." Grills.
Yeah, that's pretty. Like, wow. Pot. Meat kettle.
Okay. So, yeah. This guy is, the more I find out about this guy, just the worse it gets.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Just,
yeah. But yeah, he's, oh yes. And yeah, the other one is, apparently he says now that he never claimed to be Jewish, even though there's documentation where he declares himself a proud American Jew, quote, and enjoyed coverage in Jewish media where he was celebrated as, quote, the only Jewish Republican member of New York's House delegation. And he made these claims, I guess, that his grandparents left Russia and then to flee Stalin. And they moved to Belgium and then had to flee the Holocaust. And the Holocaust Memorial Center has no records of his grandparents.
None. Yeah.
There's like literally nothing. I mean, like,
the guy's a
the
pathological
Holocaust?
liar.
The Holocaust?
Pathological liar. Yeah. I know. Yeah, just beyond. Just a pathological liar. And he's like, what's his name? Madison Cawthorn, where he, says, I was going to the Naval Academy no, you weren't accepted to the Naval Academy, you lying piece of shit.
Well,
They just can't, they have to live in their own fake made up reality, because the actual truth just doesn't play.
Man, seriously. I mean, it's just lie.
Yeah.
Just lie. I
Make
hope
it up.
nobody catches you. And if someone catches you, well, I didn't say that. Well, we have your tweet here, or we have this recorded. No, you misconstrued my statement.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, like,
I apologize if you misconstrued my statement. I apologize if me lying like I breathe offended you, but I'm keeping the seat.
but your statement is not true. There's no truth to any of it. None.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing it all over, right? I mean, we see it in Alberta too with Daniel Smith, right? I'm of Cherokee ancestry.
Look, just because you were conceived in the back of a Cherokee does not make you Indigenous, all right?
Tamara Leach was claiming Métis ancestry and just...
Anything they can do to say, it's okay for me to do this because I have this. But no, you don't have that. You don't. You're lying. You've made it all up. It's all a figment of your imagination to try and paint a better picture of yourself and prove to the world that you're not the scumbag piece of human garbage that we all know you truly are. On the opposite side of that coin,
yes,
is this brilliant young woman.
Yes.
Ms. Zexi Lee.
Yes.
Who, in the face of Centertown residents terrorized by the noise, harassment, and fumes, Zexi Lee put herself forward to be the name at the top of a class action lawsuit against the protest. For it, she got both praise from the city and scorn from the protest supporters, but she did it with good cheer and grace. Paul Champ, the lawyer who made the lawsuit happen. Champ not only filed the papers for the lawsuit, but acted as counsel for the citizens of Ottawa at the convoy inquiry. Champ has become a dogged defender of people who felt they were left helpless by their government and police. The battlers, fed up with a city that seemed to be doing nothing. A small group of protesters one weekend decided to stop a small convoy joining the main protest downtown. What started as a handful quickly snowballed, and soon people from all over the neighborhood were blocking the dozen or so protesters from leaving Riverside at Billings Bridge. It gave some hope for people in town that there was something that could be done about the protests, and maybe even galvanized other levels of governments to make a move to clear the city. Now, you need to remember the Battle of Billings Bridge, as it was come to be known. I was sitting at home and it was going on, and I had friends say, "Are you going to go out and participate?" And I said, "I want to, but I'm afraid of what I may do because I'm very angry at the moment. I don't need another moment of going viral." So I decided to, and my mother had actually texted me and said, "Please don't go. I want you to stay home. I am afraid if you go, you'll get yourself into some trouble." And I said, "Okay, no problem, Mom. I'll stay home." I did want to go, but I knew myself well enough to know that I am not in good headspace to participate. I would do something that I would regret, that I would not be able to take back. So I stayed home. But a lot of my fellow citizens and friends did participate in, like I said, what's come to be known as the Battle of Billings Bridge. And yeah, we shut them down. We shut them down.
Yep. Now there's we posted an article in the chat here. It was CBC titled "Zexi Lee looks back on the year that changed her in Ottawa forever." And the article starts, "Every time Zexi Lee's name appears in the news, the hateful phone calls, texts, and emails start pouring in. She knows this time won't be any different, but she agrees to the year-end interview anyway." She's quoted as saying, "They've definitely died down a lot in recent months, but it ebbs and flows with my presence in the media. These are the consequences of my decisions, and I'm an adult, so I have to live with them." She's just so poised.
Total rock star. Total rock star.
About
She's
her
21. 21.
Yeah.
She's a baby.
Yep. About her testifying at the Public Order Emergency Commission, she says, "To be honest, it was an odd experience." And when people were talking about her facial expressions, because, and we mentioned it too, right? It's like, she was just like not having it, right? A couple of times. And like this, she said that people had misinterpreted her facial expressions during the appearance as smugness. She goes, "No, that's just shock and confusion from the statements he's making. I suppose that is the job of the cross-examiner to catch me off guard, but I really wasn't briefed about too much." When she talks about the convoy period, she says, "It was just chaos. It was chaos downtown. I remember watching them," when he was talking about the structures, the canteen being built outside our building.
Mhm.
I remember watching them build it and just thinking, oh my goodness, I knew they weren't leaving, but now they're building structures.
Yeah, and
Which
that's
I can understand that because that's a whole other level.
that was the shock. I remember watching it go up, and I'm like, "How the fuck is this happening right now in Canada's capital city? How is this happening?"
Yeah.
I mean, two young girls had little girls like 10 and 12 years old put up a lemonade stand on NCC property, and it was torn down within an hour.
Mhm.
1 hour on NCC property. They built a structure on NCC property
But they didn't
and had
come
a
with 1,000
propane
of their
and
friends, right?
there was a propane and fuel depot stored mere meters away from the structure they built, which was across the canal from the National Defense Headquarters.
And right close to the NAC.
Yeah, it's like
That's the National Arts Center for people who are not in Ottawa. But there's one thing between saying like I'm not going
Mhm.
and I'm starting to build a
Yes.
mini city. Right? I mean that it's like you invite guests over to stay for the weekend, right? And then they're there 2 extra days, but then, ding dong, oh, there's my sofa.
Oh, thanks, PJ.
Yeah, when they haven't left 2 days later, that's one thing. When they have a sofa delivered.
Yeah. Wait, hang on a second now. Whoa.
It's like,
Whoa. Do you mind if I move the TV? It's not the best angle here.
Yeah, it's like when your guests start redecorating.
Maybe it's time to ask them to leave.
Because, well, they're sending you the signal they have no intention to leave.
Mhm.
It's like, really? So, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
I think we do. Yes. It's time to. I need to get some food into my belly and some
Me too.
coffee into my brain, and I am working right now, but it's been unbelievably quiet today because there's absolutely nobody in the building. I'm at home, obviously. I don't know. There's nobody in the office, and most people have taken the day off. Actually, I think most people took the week off, to be honest, because it was only 3 working days, so they just tack with it. But I'm support staff, so I'm, servicing people, but there's literally nothing happening right now. So it's going to be a day where I can get some other work done. Maybe finish recording a show, a music show, and I'm working on a couple of different things for some new bumper stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah, some new bumpers. Little things here and there. I like to have some fun with it. You can see that I've added some stuff here and there from time to time because I'm trying to keep it interesting. And the other thing is, as I use this product, this software to develop stuff, I get better at it all the time, learning all the ins and outs of how to make better presentations. So it's it's sort of a training for me at the same time. So yeah, I'll get lots of work done.
Sir, you caught it. I was about to say it. Christine. I was about to say it. He set me up, and I was just waiting for a moment, but I didn't want to interrupt his flow.
Words left my mouth. I thought, oh, I've just pitched one right across the plate, haven't I?
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
For those who don't know what servicing means, on the farm they would bring in a bull to service the cows. A stud. That's what it's called, a stud. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there you go again, as James called it on the Casual Friday. Like, us, you guys are like the nicest, most subtle narcissists. You just called yourself a stud.
No, I'm talking about that's what a bull is. When you bring a bull in to service the cows, you bring in a stud.
You're servicing people. We call that person a stud. You don't even know you're doing it. That's the best part. That's the part of it that's so charming, is you're not even aware you're doing it. It's not like you're sitting there going, I'm servicing people and I'm a stud. It's like, that when you have a bull and you bring him in, it's like PJ, on the other hand, it's servicing downtown Ottawa, seeing people in the house.
Yeah, I haven't
Oh,
done any
man.
servicing in 2 weeks, so it's time for me to get out and do some servicing. It's 2 weeks. That's a dry spell for this cowboy.
Oh, man. Yes, here we go, kids. You're learning everything you maybe didn't even want to know.
Well, there's now a picture of me floating about the ether with my full business on display. I sent it
Yes,
to Dean as a Christmas present.
yes,
And he's
yes.
like, "Why did you do this?" And Lachlan was like, "'Cause you asked him to." I'm like, "Yeah, you
Right,
did. You
I
asked
was
me on the
on the
podcast."
show.
Yeah.
I was on the show. I remember I came into the party last night. Like, this was the first thing they asked me. Is it's like, oh, Paul showed us a picture of his. Like, oh, yeah, he does that to everyone.
But you need to understand. Everybody goes, "Oh, he sent a dick pic." No, that's not what it is.
No,
It's
he showed
not.
a tasteful artistic nude.
That's what it is. It was a black and white photo of me from head to toe in the nude. It's not a dick pic. So, I just don't want to be accused of something I didn't do. Accuse me of something I did do, and I'll accept the fate that is laid upon me at my feet. But I don't want to be accused of something I didn't do.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, people saw your junk.
That's fine. I don't care.
What was
Millions
the thing I
have.
said? I wish I could remember the line I said. It's like, oh, darn, I can't remember. It was something about, yeah. Anyway, it was
Yeah.
about a package. I got everybody laughing, but I should have written it down.
Oh, I was already gone at that point, was I?
No, I think you were still there.
Oh,
You
was
were
I?
still there
Okay.
because you turned red.
Oh, I don't remember what it was though.
Yeah, you're talking. Yeah. Anyway,
Thankfully, it wasn't recorded, so for posterity's sake, we
You
can't
said
broadcast anything that was. We can't broadcast anything that took
any of that.
place last night.
No, you said package or something.
Package,
Anyway, well, kids, that's the end of this episode of. Well, this was not just a nibble, that's for
No,
sure.
this was a full bite. We're pushing 3 hours here. This was almost.
Wow.
We're getting into pubcast territory.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
Gee.
10 minutes, 8 more minutes, and we'll have a full 3 hours. So.
Oh, by the time I finish this extra, we'll probably get there.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna
And
make a
when
coffee while you're at it. Go ahead, get
when you
started.
add
I'll
the-
get a coffee.
when if you're on the podcast, by the time we add the ads, we're definitely going over 3 hours. Well, kids, that's the end of this episode of the True North Eager Beaver morning show, our final show of the year, potentially. We don't know if we'll be having a surprise tomorrow or anything, but Mr. Grizzly and I will discuss it, so keep your eyes and your ears peeled. We hope that you love listening to us because we loved making this for you. Oh, thank you, Kit Christine. Said this was awesome. Thanks. I really appreciate it. Because democracy is something that you do. I just heard this on the news this morning, but Canadian Blood Services said that they've missed hundreds of donations due to the storm, that because it closed donor centers and mobile units. There's a shortfall of 1,500 units of blood, or about 10%. And the nationwide inventory has dropped by more than 35% since October, and they have just 3 to 4 days inventory for some blood types. There's a critical need for platelets and a critical for cancer patients, and O negative blood for newborns in emergencies. And apparently, the Canadian Blood Services donor base has been shrinking. It's the lowest in decades. So, if you do have the opportunity, please go over to Canadian Blood Services, or if you're in Quebec, EMA Quebec, and make a donation. As the ad goes, blood, it's in you to give. Because nationwide inventory dropping by more than 35% since October, and only having 3 to 4 days inventory for some blood types is not where we want to be.
No,
not at all. So if you have an opportunity to do that, please roll up your sleeves and give a little red to save the nation some dread. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Dean Blundell Network, as well as anywhere as you get all your podcasts featuring a grizzly bear and a beaver. If you do listen to us on Apple Podcasts or any other service that allows you to give ratings or leave compliments or comments, I should say. That was a Freudian slip. Of course, we want you to leave compliments, but we want your comments, good, bad, or ugly.
Exactly.
Just be gentle if they're ugly. Please do give us some stars, however many you think we deserve. We won't tell you how many. Got some sign language going on.
We'll
here,
suggest.
Yes, but
Suggest.
whatever you think we deserve, we're grateful for everyone. And leave us a review. If you want to chat with us, you can do so. You can do it via our Facebook blog page, True North Eager Beaver on Facebook, our Twitter feed, @TrueEager on Twitter. Our email is truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Send us a little note. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about. Anything. We want to hear from you. You can subscribe via Podpage. That's podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver with hyphens between each one of those words. If you want us to come straight to you when we have something fresh off the I don't know what I keep on wanting to say fresh off the presses, but that I don't know what
There's
the
no press.
internet fresh off the bandwidth. Let's put it that way. There we go. Kit Elaine says, and send Douglas cookies. Kit Christine says, all the cookies. Yes, please send me cookies. I love cookies. And if anybody has any gluten-free, yes, all the wheat-free, gluten-free cookies. Thank you very much. And if anybody has some wheat-free, gluten-free Christmas cake, I like that very much. I haven't had one in a long time. So yeah, please send one of those too. They make me happy. If you really, 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 really like this podcast and wish to encourage us to do more, we work for tips. And thank you very much, Kit. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, Aina or Aina. But you sent us a very, very nice tip on our coffee yesterday, and we are very grateful. So thank you. Kit Christine says, I can do that. I'm also gluten-free. Well, okay. Send us any one of our contacts things. Send us something and I'll get in contact with you. And yeah, I'll we'll talk. We'll talk because yes, I really do
have
miss.
coffee.
I really do miss Christmas cake. Or Stephen.
We'll have coffee and we'll talk. We'll talk.
We'll talk. No big whoop. Or as Stephen Colbert calls it, raisin brick.
Seems reasonable.
Yes. But yes, if you would like to encourage us to do more, please feel free to. Is it going to be a pint of Guinness for you today, Mr. Grizzly?
Later today, it is Friday. I will meet me mates at the pub. Go round a pub, have a couple of pints,
All right. So a pint of Guinness for Mr. Grizzly, and maybe it's the end of the year, so send them two. I will have my traditional hot chocolate today because, as we often say, you are what you drink. All right. And if you want to do that, go to our coffee page. That's ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. That's ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word, lowercase letters. We'll put that in the chat for you. And finally, if you'd rather get something for your money, because you are a smart and savvy shopper and you want to make that dollar go further, so you can support us by getting some of our merch. We've got you covered literally with Eager Beaver t-shirts, Mr. Grizzly Civics tees. We still have seasonal holiday tees. There's our Pride shirt there. There's our Halloween shirt if you want to get in early for next year. There's the beautiful seasonal Christmas tee, all made by our lovely friend Pete Jarvis, who lives in Melbourne, Australia, who has been very, very kind to us, does our artwork, and doesn't ask for anything for it except our thanks. So
he's a good mate. He's a good mate, eh?
He's a very good mate.
I had the pleasure of sharing a pint with him at the pub.
Yes, when he was in Ottawa in August for the Big M Cup. He was managing the Melbourne Chargers rugby team. Came to play. So yes, we have 6 designs to choose from in sizes small to 3XL, something for literally everybody. So, do a little Lady Gaga walk fashion baby your way to our site, deanblundell.square.site/s/shop to get yourself some fabulous today, because letting people know that you are an informed and engaged citizen has never been more fashion or more sexy. We wouldn't steer you wrong, kids. We wouldn't steer you wrong. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your eager beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it can be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And we hope that you have someone dear and close to do the final countdown. Say goodbye to 2022 and say hello to 2023.
The final countdown.
Countdown. I walked right into that one.
You did.
I
You
did.
I'm going to have to put that on my sound pad here so I can play it.
Mr. Grizzly, as always, in case we don't have another pop in with the kits before the end of the year, some wisdom for the day and some wisdom to end the year and start the new one.
May your coffee be black, your whiskey be neat, your steak be rare, your heart be full. Show gratitude every chance you can. That's all I got for today.
Okay. And do you have something to close out the year?
Hang on, I got a call. Hello.
Seriously? Oh, man. Okay.
Sorry, it was...
I thought you were pulling my leg there.
No. There's a package being delivered, so I just had to buzz the guy in.
Oh, a
I ordered
package,
some stuff. Not a package, a package. There's a difference. I have a package. This is a package.
Oh, man. Sir, you're going to have to check that. Oh, that's what I said. It was on the plane. Sir, I know you think that's a carry-on, but you're going to have to check that.
I'm not checking it. I'm keeping it where it is.
All right. And yeah, so wisdom to end the year.
I hope everybody is happy and healthy. And Elaine, we're glad to see that you're on the mend and feeling much better.
Yes.
I hope that everyone can take stock of this year and what it's brought us, both the good and the bad. And sometimes the bad will help you to see the good a little bit clearer. If that makes sense, it does to me anyway. I can certainly see the good from this year. And as I thanked many people last night, I want to say thanks again to everybody who has thrown their support my way after what was a very trying time in February, and the words of encouragement and notes that I received and DMs that I received from people all around the world. Actually, I want to thank each and every one of you very, very much from the bottom of my heart, because it was a tough period, and I did get a lot of death threats amongst other things, but it was they were far outweighed by the words of encouragement and kindness and the words of gratitude that I received for standing up to a bunch of ignorant bullies. So thank you very much for that. I can't thank you enough. It really has meant a great deal to me.
Yeah. And on my behalf, Mr. Grizzly, you had to, because you were the responsible one yesterday and you left the party at a reasonable time. But those who were on the chat who were there last night, we were doing this thing where we were basically giving our origin stories and how we wound up at the network, and everybody sort of had a moment to be asked some questions, and because I stayed until the end, I guess they kept me for last. And so much love. I got so much love. The things you had to say about what you think about me, what you think about us in our show, but when Paul was gone, what you think about me. And good morning, Ree. Nice to see you. The things that you had to say about me, and how much you like what I represent, and how I've affected your lives. And well, you brought me to tears. You guys know I'm a softie and I cry. So, but I was deeply. I'm actually welling up right now.
Of course you are.
Thinking about it.
Of course you are.
Um,
I would expect nothing less.
Man, it's really funny. It's, if you pay me compliments about certain things, I'm okay, and then if you like, but if you start talking about my soul and my
Yeah,
energy,
that's a little bit heavier, right?
yeah, it comes to get me. But yeah, there was a lot of love and a lot of kindness, and yes, I do this thing where I'm out there and I laugh and whatnot, but I am naturally pretty introverted, as some people saw in the party last night, because as soon as that happened, um, I started blushing, and all I could say was, "Thanks, that's very kind." And I didn't have much to say, and I really wished people had just asked me more questions that I could answer, because I had nothing. But as Chris, it's just right here again, Christine, 100% Douglas. I'm only here once in a while, but I love your energy, kindness, and love. Um, yeah, it touched my soul, and I'm so grateful for all of you. Um, uh, as we said in a podcast, we could be talking to just one person and it would still be a conversation, and we'd be doing this.
Exactly.
But that there are so many of you, and so many of you in a short time, right? Like before we started, at the end of our first year, April to December, we had 2,360 downloads or something. We get that in a month now.
Yeah, it's changed an awful lot. You've helped us grow our show. You've helped us spread our message, because our message at the end of the day is one of kindness, compassion, and love. It's chaos. Be kind, except for Nazis. Punch them.
Yes.
We want to. We're here to spread a message of love and kindness, but we are going to inform you and always be factual and truthful. We will never lie to you. And if we get something wrong, please feel free to correct us, and we will correct ourselves. We will stand in the light when we make a mistake and admit to it, because we're only human, and we want to do a good job for you. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. You both deserve every bit of success you've achieved this year. We love you and your sparkling soul.
Soul.
I'm so bad at this. So yeah, I'm not. Please don't look at as false modesty. That's not it. And trust me, my ego is plenty good. My self-esteem is quite good. But it's
mine is, thanks to Zoloft.
But it's meaningful.
Yes.
It really is meaningful. And as you know, whenever I get a compliment, I always consider the source. And like I said, we wanted to build some community, and especially since we've been doing these live things with the chat, we're getting a better sense of who you are and what your soul is. Right.
Well, and this is, we'll still do the occasional flagship long form audio show, but there's something about the live shows like this where we get to engage with the listeners and viewers through the chat. I mean, there's an interactivity to it that you don't get with just listening to a program. And we appreciate the people who watch later and listen later. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we love all of it, but the interactive aspect on the live shows like this is what makes it a great deal more engaging. At least that's my thought, and that's what I feel. And the engagement, I think, is very important. And you really do get to build the community in this way, because we can actually interact with each other in real time. And I think that is how we build a community, and how we build out the network, and how we build our show, and bring people into the fold.
Yeah. So to all of you, you're amazing. You make it worth it, because there are some mornings that are a little harder to get up than others.
This morning was one of them.
Yeah. But we love doing this. And on a personal note, Mr. Grizzly, my dear friend,
Yes.
what a gift you are. This is not possible without you, because I don't know the technical stuff, and I'm really hoping that you'll teach me some when we have the
All
chance.
in due time, my good man.
Yeah, well, no, because there's other projects that I've asked you to help with over the year that have nothing to do with this, and like this, that you have a full plate and that you've taken on, and I would like to take some of that off. And maybe once I learn to do some of this a little better, we will be able to do a daily show, which of course you might not be there 2 days of the week, but we could be able to move this to a daily. But yeah, I mean, we didn't know each other from Adam. When I reached out to you and I asked for your help, and you said yes right away. And this could have gone very, very wrong. I mean, because I had a brand, right? And I brought someone into my brand, which is hard to do, right? Because I've been doing this for 10 years as a blog. And I've been growing it organically in a very slow and deliberate way with not lots of promotion, letting people find me. I'll have to admit there were certain things that I was hesitant about, like when that thing happened in January when you told me about it. I had a choice in that moment because you said on the discussion yesterday, like some people turned to you and says like, is this guy mental and on drugs? And, and other people were, said, yeah, way to go. And when you said it, I had both those thoughts at the same time simultaneously as the PR guy, right? It's like, okay, half of me says, this is great. Yeah, way to go. And half of me says, oh my God,
what are we going to do?
There goes my brand right up in flames, right? Because I'm not the angry, yelly, shouty guy. I'm the snarky, bitchy, sassy guy. And that's why I asked, when you said I did a thing and I saw it, it's like part of me went, I was like, is that a good thing? Trying to hedge my bets because I wanted to know how you felt about it. But because of that, you were okay with it. So I was okay with it. All this happened with the Dean Blundell Network and then, meeting all these people. And you pushed me to do live shows way sooner than I was ready, because my original idea for a live show would have been, once we were really established, we would, like, created, well, no, but created some type of set, right? And, and sort of maybe like a daily show sort of take, like with a news desk, right? Not with a green screen and little like things in back, and we would be having some fun.
All in the future.
But instead of doing it like this, and it was like, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm ready yet. And then there were all our shows previously, before we started doing the bites before elections, were fully scripted, where we talked. And you're much better off the cuff than I am. I've had to develop this skill. So, I always wanted to have things that were well written, well delivered, no stuttering when we talk, no ums, and nice and polished and packaged, and to show you that I was, put all this work into it because I was respecting my audience. So these live shows are a little messier, a little chaotic. Sometimes there's errors in my notes. Sometimes I can't find things. Sometimes I have to, ask you to take over because, to be totally honest, I'm kind of lost in all the notes that I've taken. And it's like, I need you to talk for a while I try to figure out where I am. But all these things have been good. They've helped. They've grown our brand. They've been positive. I do not regret a single decision. And along the way, your friendship. And
we got porn bots.
Yep. Your friendship. It's New Year's Eve. Let them have fun.
Yeah.
But your friendship and your care and the way you say yes to all my crazy suggestions. I'm very, very, very grateful for you. I am glad you're in my life. I cannot imagine my life without you in it now. And yeah, you're my brother, and I love you very much. And thank you for taking this crazy ride with me and making it slightly crazier than Wanted to. You got me out of my rut, so I hope it. I hope that you're enjoying this too.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I'm grateful for you. So thanks.
Right back at you, brother. This has been a fun ride, and let's just see where it takes us. Where does it go from here? I mean, our ultimate goal was to turn this into a. Our ultimate goal is, we had a 5-year plan, and the idea was to turn it into a revenue stream eventually, right? I mean, we're not there yet, of course. It's we've invested a lot of money and time and effort into this, and we're always trying to improve the product, because having a good product is what we want to put forth for everybody that watches and listens and tunes in and takes part in the live chat. We want to be good at this. And we did, like I said, we plan to eventually turn this into a revenue stream, because I'd love to be able to do this full time.
Me too.
And I love my day job. I do. But it gives me a creative outlet that I desperately need, which is why I do the music shows, because I need to be creative. My mind never stops. I have ADHD, depression, and anxiety. I'm like a squirrel on a wheel, or a hamster on a wheel some days. And other days I can't get out of bed. So this has been a joyous ride from the start, and we'll just continue to get on that toboggan and see where it takes us,
Yeah. Yeah. So, Kits, thank you for your participation, your love, your joy. If we do not see you before the year is out, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. Wishing you all the best for 2023. And around January 15th, because we can't leave without a little tease, we might be having something new for you.
You'll see.
Some good stuff to share. Yeah, you'll see. It's going to be great. All right, Miss Grizzly, please roll the credits.
The True North Eager Beaver podcast is an Eager Beaver Mr. Grizzly collaboration. Research, story, and guest curation and copy written by the Eager Beaver. Recording, production, editing, and additional research by Mr. Grizzly. Music courtesy of Ben Sound Royalty Free Music. Once again, thank you to our founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss Fee Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing and CanadianTarot.com. And thank you to Pete Jarvis for our artwork. We love it. Kits, we'll talk to you real soon. Bye.
Take care. That's it
love
for today, folks.
Just
Take
love
care.
you guys.
Bye.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss Fee Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum. And the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.